All right. I am not in Japan. I am back in the gaming dojo here in my basement in Moorhead, Minnesota. And although Anthony is AWOL right now, hey everybody, how's it going? Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Gentlemen, hey, how did the album go while I was gone? We tried to log in from the Tokyo Game Market. We couldn't get their Wi-Fi to work for nothing. So
It went just fine.
We talked about games for
Yeah,
4
we
hours.
actually talked about games the whole time.
Some say it was better.
oh, who?
The 7% of the people who actually like
The people that actually like games.
Yeah.
Very cool. But yes, I was in Japan, and that was an experience and a half. But oh wait, we're starting off. Even though I was gone, nothing happened to it. It hasn't moved. Just once again, like to point out that solidarity. I have not opened my Wave 1.5.
Looks like new tape to me.
Oh yeah. You're hilarious.
Yeah, Caleb was playing with it while you were in Japan.
He might have. He probably sat on it or something. I have no idea. But so in 2 weeks, have you guys played anything cool? I've got a bunch of games I can talk about that I played in Japan, but I just want to hear from you guys.
I played exactly pretty much nothing. Well, I tried 51st State out. That was about the only thing I tried out.
That new, the deluxe with all the cool little things and what have you? Beautiful.
Yes. I had to make it more deluxe because the bullet tokens just didn't fit, so I had to replace those.
What'd you replace them with, like real bullets?
Yeah.
And he has
Well,
real guns.
I used shell casings. I didn't use actual bullets.
America.
Or even assembled cartridges because I didn't want to scare people. So,
Nice.
but just the brass cases. And it's still way more tactile and cooler.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, but no, it's 51st State. I already liked it anyway, so it wasn't like I was going to unlike it there.
I never played 51st State before. I'd played Imperial Settlers, but never 51st State. So
This new one's a little different than the original, but it's got the same feeling. Yeah.
I like it. I mean, it and Imperial Settlers feel so close together, but I feel like this would be a better tournament type game from the standpoint of you don't have to have somebody say, well, my faction just didn't match well with his faction, right? Since you just have the one common deck of cards.
Yeah. You don't have to learn how to play the different decks.
Right. It's you know how to play the game. You know how to play the game. You don't have to worry about deck building and all that crap. So.
Because like normally when I play like Imperial with someone for the first time, I give them the barbarians. Not that they're the best, but they're still the easiest to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Romans are easy too, but.
Anybody else play anything cool, neat, new?
I've been playing Darkest Night, which is relaunching tomorrow on Kickstarter.
Yes. Did you manage to get a copy of the new thing?
Yes, I have the new.
It's pretty
version.
beautiful.
It is. It's pretty amazing how much is in that box.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect they could cram all that in there. So, but they managed to. So.
What was the point of canceling that original one? I didn't catch all that.
He stopped the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, I know why. A lot of people were not necessarily complaining about the way it was set up. So in the first one, there were minis that were available for the characters in the base set, but the expansions, the characters, you had to get them separately, I think.
Okay.
So it was a whole thing. So I think the new one that is launching tomorrow, there's going to be two options. You can get them with just the standees, like the old game, which work perfectly fine. And then there's either a deluxe version to get with the minis for everything, or the minis are going to be a separate add-on now. I'm not quite sure. But I know a lot of the stuff had to do with the fact that there was standees and minis coming, and some people were like, I don't need the minis, and there's too much, and I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff people were saying. But I know that Grant took a lot of the feedback and reworked everything. So we'll see tomorrow when he relaunches what the actual changes are.
I mean, Darkest Night is. I mean, I don't know. It's one of my favorite co-ops. It's just such a good game. But the whole prospect of the more good you do, the more light you shine on yourself, and then the necromancer comes and eats you. Just a lot of fun. So, anything else? Anybody else got anything?
I got Dr. Eureka.
What is that?
Dr. Eureka is the game with the little balls and the test tubes. You start out with 2 green, 2 orange, and 2 purple balls, or 2 red and 2 purple balls, and then you flip a card and it has the pattern of how they have to end up in the 3 tubes, and then you have to quickly maneuver them by pouring them back and forth into each other to be the first person to get to the.
Okay, I have heard of that. Yes.
It's fun. I got it, and I was like going to my kids, the twins. I'm like, hey guys, come here, let's try this. They're like, I don't want to play that. I'm like, just play it. It takes 5 minutes, and they played for 2 hours.
So you tricked them.
I just wanted to play it. I figured we'll play it for 10, 15 minutes because the game's a round only takes 30 seconds. And I stopped playing, and they played for 2 more hours with my other son. So.
Yeah, I've seen it played. I haven't played it myself, but very clever game. So, who's the publisher on that again? I can't even remember.
Blue Orange.
Blue Orange, yeah, it's Blue Orange. I thought that the guy on the front, they were trying. Well, maybe I don't know which came first, that or Rick or Morty. But I felt like they were trying to copy Rick and Morty with the guy in the front. But not that that's technically a bad thing. But
okay, I can see it now. It's just said it. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, well, that's why I am the one who thinks the second level. So you know how it is.
Yeah, you're the man. I don't know how we got all along without you for a week.
I don't know. I would agree. I'm in agreement on the how did you manage to get along without me kind of thing. But regardless.
Marty's here.
What?
Marty's here.
Holy cow! Who moved the rock, Marty?
No.
What the deuce?
How y'all doing?
Hey, Marty Connell, famed podcaster, everybody.
Oh,
He's part of the 7%.
He is part of the 7%.
What's 7% what?
That's our show, apparently.
Yeah. So the whole thing is when the new BGG design came out, Scott asked everybody what they wanted to see or what they wanted to be prominent on the game pages. And people were like number one thing people responded with was written reviews, wasn't it? And then it was videos.
Yeah.
And then only 7% of people said that they cared whether or not a podcast was mentioned.
Makes sense.
And so there was a bit of a brouhaha about that. So now that's the thing of saying podcasters are part of the 7%.
7%.
I had a publisher actually say that to me.
did you?
Well, a publisher representative.
It sounds
it
very.
Lance?
It sounds like
it was
it's very
Lance.
elitist, but it's probably more. It sounds more accurate that we're not part of the 93%.
Well, yeah, there you go. You're not. You're the one swimming upstream. You're the one that's making the changes and altering the course of what have you.
What
So-
he said.
Here's the reason why I caught on. Is anybody interested in hearing about The Godfather and Bloodborne from Eric
Me?
Lang?
I want to hear about Godfather.
Which Godfather?
The
The
board game.
Godfather board game.
Which one? There's 3 of them.
The one that
The Eric Lang one.
Eric Lang. Okay.
All right, you got our attention, obviously. So let's go here. What do we got?
Okay, so I was at Cool Mini Not Expo this past weekend where Eric Lang was showing off Godfather, the board game, and it was a prototype. But imagine this: imagine you know how Blood Rage is very much kind of a Euro feel but heavy theme. This is the exact same thing, except it's strictly like worker placement and territory control. So you're in New York. You're playing as a Don. You're sending out thugs to companies to go shake them down to get resources. You could be trying to get money or other resources for completing jobs, and there's just one thug per place that you can shake down. So there's your worker placement mechanic. And if you have the most thugs in a certain area, you have control of that area. So there's your area control, which can be used to a benefit later on, because if you control an area, you get bonus benefits if other people come into your area and do things. The whole goal of the game is to shake down companies, make money, and bank that money by putting it into a briefcase, and at the end of the game, the person with the most money wins. So it's one of those that the theme is fantastic. The mechanics work very well with the theme. It doesn't feel like it's like taking a game and pasting on a theme around it. It's like it was made specifically for The Godfather. So if there are fans of Blood Rage that like that combo of a very thematic Euro game, then I think they're going to like Godfather also.
I had no interest in that game, and now I do.
All right, so I have a question. So I had heard originally that it had sort of the Age of Conan thing, because you play the 4 other family heads. You don't play the head of the Corleone family. It doesn't have something where there's either the feds or something move around the board and prevent you from doing things in certain areas, or knock you down.
That is a very good question, Anthony. So at the end of the round, you have additional people that will come out that you can bid on. You can bid to take control of the mayor, or bid to take control of the police department. And it's a card management system. So in your hand, you have cards that denote dollars, cards that denote resources like dirty money, alcohol, and guns, which will be turned in to give you jobs, and that jobs can give you more money. But one of the things is, like, you could take into your hands, like the mayor of the police department, and on your turn you could play that and actually move a cop into an area which runs the thugs out. So the game doesn't automatically move them there. You bid to take control of them, like they're doing your bidding.
Hey, is there a brothel?
There is no brothel.
Never mind, I don't want it. I've been waiting for a worker placement with a brothel.
And you
can play sex worker placement.
And you play over 4 rounds, and each round is one of the chapters in the Godfather movie. And at the
third round is useless?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there.
And the 4th round is when Don Corleone dies. And basically, at that point, you see who's the most powerful Don, and they become the Godfather.
Dude, spoilers.
Hey, Eric Lang said there is the statute of limitations on off a 40-something-year-old movie is over.
Whatever.
So that is the Godfather in a nutshell.
All right.
So how was the Xbox?
Bye, Marty. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, see you later. It was very, very good. I highly recommend it. Only 300 to 400 people show up. It gives you the chance to sit there with Eric and play a full game of his stuff. We got to play Bloodborne, which is a fun 30 to 45-minute game, card game, push your luck game with cards. You die a lot. The whole goal is to kill monsters, collect their blood. The thing is, though, you have to take a special action to bank the blood. The person with the most blood at the end of the game wins. But if you die, you lose the blood. So that's the push your luck sort of part of it. That's about the only 2 games he was really showing off at the time. There may have been some others, but we got to play Mas Mora, which is a lot better than I thought it would be.
I'd go, but it's on Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah,
And it's going to be on Mother's Day weekend again next year.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to go. I just had an appointment at a specialist on Friday that I couldn't get around. So.
I mean, do you have to get an invite, or can anybody go, or how does that even work?
It's open to the public.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So it's just one large room with a bunch of tables set up, and you can sit down. And it's not just Cool Mini or Not Game. They have a library with a lot of different games. They have other vendors there, like Travis from Action Phase Games was there. Got to chat with him for a bit. And some other 8th Summit was there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, I know. 8th Summit was there showing off Defenders of the Last Stand, and Tony got to play that one. So there's other companies there besides just CMON.
Oh, cool. Well, how did Defenders of the Last Stand look? I mean, I know that Jason's been really working hard on that one.
It looked pretty good. It's not the quality of Cool Mini or Not miniatures.
Yeah.
But it still looks pretty good. And from what I understand, it was pretty much the final production that they were playing. I didn't get to play it. but I just kind of went over there and looked at it. But Richard Launius taught the game, and he was kind of running the game for the guys, so they really enjoyed that.
Cool. Yeah, Jason. I hope that goes over well for Jason. He's really put his blood into that one.
Right. I hope it does too.
Well, I hope if you didn't feel that way, you wouldn't say it. Hey, everybody, Jim Felly. I invited Jim, and I got an email from him, and I know he wouldn't care. But he sent me a picture of what looks to be a single malt Scotch whiskey called Ardbeg Dark Cove, and then he said, "Too much to be coherent, but welcome the F home." So, thank you, Jim, for your candor as always. Cool. All right. Well, hey, Japan. I was there for a week. Who's got a question about Japan?
Did you play the toilet game?
I played the toilet game, and the toilet game is freaking amazing.
I almost tried to message you to beg you to bring me a toilet game.
I have a copy of it. I will bring it to Origins. We will play the toilet game. The toilet game is freaking amazing. Hold on, I'll go grab my copy.
I saw that the date that they posted for next year for Cool Me or Not. I'm like, oh, cool, it's not Mother's Day. And I looked, I'm like, oh, crap, it's Mother's Day.
Yep.
All right, so this is the toilet game. And it is, I have no, I mean, I know how to play just because a person who spoke both Japanese and English taught it to me. This box is, like, held together with just a scant amount of glue. On the way home, it got busted up, so I had to, like, you can even see it, maybe you can see it got kind of busted up over there. But so I had to kind of re-put it all together. So the toilet game, it is, how would I describe this? Think a resistance game with a toilet instead of like you trying to send your people out for a mission. You are trying to make sure the toilet stays clean. And so basically you have a team of people, and most of you want to keep the toilet clean, but depending on the number of players, there's a certain number of people that just want to take a poop all over the toilet and just make it messy and dirty and awful. And so what happens is, and you have a toilet that like you have this card that is the top of the, here I can show you, that's the top of the toilet. Let me find my toilet card here. And you then you pick, so you have, and this is your toilet. And so then you have the toilet that is clean on that side. And then obviously, there you go, is the dirty toilet. And so the long story, the short is you have a certain number of rounds that you play. And so everybody has to go to the bathroom really bad, and so you're supposed to like sit there and go, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And then a person will pick who gets to go to the bathroom, and then depending upon the round, you pick that many people. And then you send those people to go over, and you're supposed to actually like take the cards and put them on another chair apart from the table, and then they go over there, and they pick the cards up, and they have to sit in the chair, and then they either flip it or keep it clean or make it dirty. And then they put the other card on it, and then they go, and then the next person goes, and the next person goes. So, and then the only thing is if you get there and it's dirty, you can't make it clean again. So if it's already dirty, you have to leave it dirty. And you can't say anything until you come back, and then the last person comes back, and they bring back everything, and then you reveal whether or not the toilet is clean or dirty. And so then basically, you know, if it's dirty, one of the people that you sent on to go to the bathroom wants to make it dirty, and so then you would lose that round. And so it's kind of like Resistance, like you have to win a certain number of rounds depending on the number of players and depending upon the number of rounds. Now, what makes this slightly different is, well, then you also have, everybody has a card that gives them one right of refusal. Like if somebody says, I want this person, and this person to go, they can say, no, I'm going to pick. And then they can't pick themselves at that point, but they can pick other people that get to go to the bathroom, and you can veto it. But there is a dexterity element to the game, which is actually what probably makes the game, like, it doesn't make it Resistance, basically. So you have the toilet, and you put that in the middle of the table. And then you have And I haven't put the stickers on mine yet. So there's stickers that have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but you have these little poker chips, and there's stickers that are supposed to be on either side. And so then the person that's in charge of picking, they're going to say, okay, who's going to, and everybody gets to throw. And so then you hand these out. So you go, okay, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, and so on and so forth, like that. And then each person takes a turn, and they have to. And there's these 2 cards, and I'm not going to dig for them out. Basically, there's 2 cards that basically show how far away you can be to throw your and onto the top and get it to land on it. I just did that actually. And so at that point, if somebody's trying to make it look dirty, like if there's basically, then it's like if you have too many of them fall off, then these are brown. So obviously, so you're not landing them in the toilet. If they fall off, you're dirtying up the outside of the toilet. So if you're trying not to, you have to like try to like look like you're actually trying to make it on there, but like make it look like maybe you're not trying to make it on there. And the thing is that if you get like 4 on there, but you need to have like you got to have only 2 on there. Like you could try to throw it on there and hit the other ones off of it, off the top, and then you could do better. And then if you haven't used your card to do a veto, you are allowed to either use it before you throw, so you can actually get closer, and so you can try to land it on the top, or if you miss, you can flip it over to retry, and so you can try to hit the toilet again. And just like anything else, yes, the game is incredibly silly. Yes, there's probably 100 copies of this game because these are all handmade by the designer. Wow. I don't know how many copies he had with him. He sold out of them really, really quickly. And I mean, I paid $30 for this, which is probably ridiculous. But like I said, I have a copy of the toilet game, so I'm pretty proud of that. Which now saying that out loud, I realize how dumb that sounds. But we played it like 3-4 times, and for like the not serious games that I played when I was in Japan, this was freaking hilarious. And I mean, and it was, and the beautiful part of it was, like, no matter where you go, as they say, everybody poops. So I was playing the game with guys from Taiwan and guys from Japan, and like there's a language barrier there, but we were all like, and they were just pointing, clean, clean, dirty, dirty, dirty. Like it was an absolute blast. So I don't know for certain, but I know that the designer and Michael exchanged business cards, and I'm telling Michael he's got to publish this. So I don't know how serious he'll take my suggestion, but he should, in my opinion.
Probably not the biggest turd he's published.
Sure.
But yeah, no, the toilet game was a lot of fun, and I was able to pick up a copy of Burano and not pay out the nose for it, which was kind of nice. So there's that too. Because they're going to seek the people of Burano. They're not going to really the Burano is like they're not seeking an American co-publisher. They're going to publish it themselves. So yeah. So there you go. But there you go. Oh, Kabuki Kid, you're so angry. I know I had a lot of fun. Kabuki Kid says that he thinks it's the worst theme ever, and that's why he owns like 0 Japanese games. Apparently he doesn't own Love Letter. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Lots of people don't own Love Letter, I should say. And Kabuki Kid also said it sounds like a SE mix of Mafia de Cuba and the Ristants. Pun intended. Hey, you know what? Maybe it is, but I had a blast playing it, and it was hilarious. So if you get a chance to buy the toilet game, I think everybody should get it. Oh, and I should show you these. These are like the pictures of the people that are. These are horrible. I don't know if I should show these or not, but this is like, and I believe the designer did all of the artwork himself for this. Hey, we lost Anthony. Where'd he go?
He's been gone for like 5 minutes.
All right, he's just embarrassed. So these are the clean people that you can get. You'll notice little sparkles behind them and how happy they are and how clean everything is. Look at this guy; he's washing his hands. He's being a good person. And then these are the dirty people.
Is it you?
No. So there's These are the people that are like, oh, I'm drunk, and yeah,
He's launching
and this
nuggets.
guy, of course, with the
Head.
yeah, just absolutely ridiculous, But there was a lot of stuff like that. I mean, it was the at Tokyo Big Sight, which is where they had the convention, and they didn't use obviously all the convention hall because Tokyo Big Sight is absolutely huge. They had a like a portion of it, like kind of like almost like a U, like a horseshoe area of the convention center, and I would say it was probably like 2.5 or 3 of the giant airplane hangars that are at Gen Con that are just like giant and full of tables and stuff like that, and like I guess ArcLight, the publisher ArcLight, like rents it out. And and then basically people pay $10 to get in, and then if you want a booth there, depending on the size of the booth, you pay for like a little chunk or a spot, and then you just and then you get to sell. And it's like there are some big publishers there. I mean that like AEG was there, which was kind of neat to see them, and they actually had copies of Mystic Vale you could play. But for the most part, it was it's all like little tiny small publishers, and they all have their like kind of little niche game that they have, and most of them are like these handmade games that people made, and it's just I saw maybe like 3 games that had gone through Kickstarter to get them published, but everything else is just people that just handmade these games and are there to sell off their 100 copies that they've made, and it was pretty cool. I got a copy, and nothing was like. There was like I counted maybe a half a dozen, like big, like box Euro games, like just the standard box size or a little bit larger. I only counted like a half a dozen of those. Most of everything was like just a little tiny box with like, and there was a ton of cool games that I'll play with my kids, like Kung Fu Hedgehog, or I mean stuff that I don't even know the name of because it didn't have an American name, but they had American rules that I could either download, or they had copies of American rules, or I should say English rules. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cool that like 2 people recognized me. I was like, oh, I'm internationally known. So that was kind of neat. But
Was that because they were pointing and screaming and running in all directions?
I thought they all knew Godzilla over there.
I was very homesick, but I get homesick whenever I leave the home. So that was nothing new. This one really stunk a lot more because of the fact that it was I could like Skype occasionally, but because of the hour difference, it was so weird to like have me be up at the same time as my family. And plus the internet, I mean, I'm sure there are places where the internet's great, but the internet at our hotel would cut in or out, so it just made it really difficult to talk with my family, which really stunk. And so I was very, very homesick for my wife and my kids by like Thursday or Friday, and then I was looking forward to coming home. But man, I saw a lot of really crazy, cool things. Michael took me to a temple, a Buddhist temple that like you climbed up. Basically, we went to this like fishing village, and you climbed up the side of this like mountain basically, and they had like a 60-foot tall bronze statue of Daibatsu, which is like some aspect of and it was just like huge and very peaceful and very beautiful, and it's 700 years old. It's been there forever, so it's just all kinds of stuff like that are cool experiences. I will say this, it's like they are so exceedingly polite in Japan. I mean, it's just, and it's something where I like, as soon as like the moment I walked out of customs in Minneapolis, and basically it was kind of weird. It's like, okay, so I get to customs and you're waiting in line, you're going through the whole process, and I was like, this is taking forever. I don't know what, if some guy must have noticed that I was just like delirious with like being tired, and because I'd been on a plane for 12 hours, and he saw me, and I had like my 3 bags, and he kind of waved me over. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh gosh, am I getting arrested or something?" And I was like, and I was like, "Oh, not too bad, just a little tired." He's like, "Yeah, I noticed." He's like, "Here, come on, I'll speed things up for you." And like he grabbed my bags, and he wasn't like some random dude. He was like actually had a airport uniform on, and he like ran the stuff through this conveyor belt that he had, and he's like, okay, you're good to go. Just take this sheet of paper over to that guy, and he'll take care of you. And sure enough, like people were looking at me like I was like cheating, but he probably cut a half hour out of my time. And I got through, and then like it was weird. It was like I walked in Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. I walked out, and like basically I walked through these sliding glass doors, and like you've been like directed to go through this line and that line and fill out this form and take this form over there and open up your bag and show it to this guy and go through all this process. And all of a sudden, and there's all these things like no phones, no talking, all these things like they're trying to get you through this thing, and then like I walk through these like sliding glass doors and I walk out and they close behind me and like I realize I'm truly in America, it's like America, just back home, and it was kind of nice, and then I immediately took out my phone and called my wife, and I was able to actually talk to my kids, which was really nice, and I went and had a real fast food burger, which was pretty cool. It's weird, but I was noticing that as soon as I got out, all of a sudden then people are just like rushing to get in front of people and like stepping in front of people and dang near knocking people over, because it's just we don't have the same concept of personal space or whatever that the Japanese people do. And man, it's like it was cool. I would if you ever get the opportunity to go, I would strongly suggest it.
So what you're saying is Japanese nice is
Yeah.
even bigger than Minnesota nice.
I will say that all day long. The Japanese nice is, they are like so polite as far as like, no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Just like nobody wants to step in front of anybody else. Nobody wants to be rude. Just it's one of those things where it is it's just crazy. It's just it's hard to explain. And the thing is, and people were like, oh, you're gonna dwarf these people, and I was like, and I noticed that I was taller than people, but I didn't think they were like I was really tall than anybody. And then after like the second day, I realized that like nearly all the men have like dress shoes on, but they have heels that are like at least an inch, like tall. They're just and they all wear them, and like all the women have heels on. They just, and so and I realized that without those shoes, the women would be like 5 feet tall, and it was just the one thing I did notice that like they were so polite, the fact that like they pretended I was normal, like I knew. That like they looked around and they didn't like, okay, there's no 6'2", 300-pound guys. They just don't see with giant beards. That's just not a normal thing they do. But everybody just was like, it would be so impolite for them to stare at me or to remark that I was different. Everyone was just looking straight ahead and just like, yeah, no, it's totally normal. I didn't notice you. I didn't notice you, giant American. They just, it's the only people that would ever even look in my direction were children. And I'm talking about children like 5 and younger, and then their parents would like reprimand them for staring at me. It was just kind of like, it was just because it was rude for their children to look my way.
They'll eat you.
I got a few kids to smile and be cool. I scared the bejesus out of some little girl that was like 2. Like she looked up at me and I like waved and I was like hi, and then immediately like 3 seconds later just just screaming and crying as loud as she can, and then the mother is apologizing to me. She's like sitting there just, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, I feel horrible, and she's like, no, and she's like trying to console her daughter. I was like, no. And then and my tattoos on my legs and on my arms, like that was something that was just completely outlandish to the kids. Just like they couldn't understand that I would have tattoos on, and but I guess Michael said that just basically if you have tattoos in Japan and you're Japanese, it means that you're part of a certain group, otherwise you just don't have tattoos. So
did they like check how many fingers you had?
No, I'll say this. The Taiwan board game design group that we met with and had dinner with, a bunch of really 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 nice guys there. The guys that the Homo sapiens lab people that Michael works with to publish Flip City, stuff like that. Super nice people. I got to meet the head honcho CEO of AEG, a guy named John. Super cool. Had dinner with Seth Hyatt from Mayday Games. He was pretty nice. He lives in China now. And so, like,
He's been there for like 4 years.
I didn't know that. So, way to go, Anthony, for filling me in, because I didn't know.
Anthony.
I figured you're the big shot. You should know these things.
Yeah.
Why did he move to China? To be closer to the production, or
I think it was a combination of that, and I think he just really likes the culture there.
culture?
And I think he said he always had this. We were having dinner, and he always had this idea that he would he would live in China for 5 years and learn to speak Chinese or Mandarin, I should say, and then he would move to Germany and live there for 5 years, and then he'd learn to speak German, and then he could work perfectly within the industry. That was his idea. And now he's lived in China, as Anthony just said, for like 4 years, and he says he doesn't see himself moving away just because he likes it so much. So, so there you go. Like I said, if you ever get a chance to go to the Japan board game market, it's the Tokyo Game Market. It's definitely a lot of fun. The games and everything are just crazy. I mean, just like I don't know. It's tough to explain them all. I couldn't possibly explain them all, but I mean, they're all small games. I mean, like I said, like I got the copy of Burano. I got an amazing game called Yokohama that is like an Istanbul game with teeth. I like Istanbul. I always thought the idea of like moving and dropping your workers and stuff like that. I mean, I like that, but they kind of take that, they flip it a little bit. But with Yokohama, it's you can mess with people a lot more by you can kind of see where they want to go, what they want to do, and you can like block off certain areas or make them have to pay you money to use the areas and things like that. And it's a little more convoluted as far as like to process the whole, getting your points, like turning your collections, your goods into your products that will produce the points and things like that. So good Euro, very good Euro. So
did you buy a Mawashi while you were there?
A what?
Mawashi.
I don't even know what that is, so probably not.
That's the diaper that the sumo wrestlers wear.
No, I did not. See, I don't even know what that is. I will say this: my hotel room, while the hotel we stayed in was very nice, like the hotel room there, and I'm sure they have larger hotel rooms, but I mean the hotel room that I had was small. I mean it was like half the size of a like a normal hotel room, maybe even a third of the size of a normal hotel room that you're accustomed to, and that included the bathroom. And so it was just kind of like you had a bathroom and you had a bed, and that was about it. And then one wall was your 45-inch TV.
Did you have a fancy toilet that did cool things?
I did have a fancy toilet that did cool things, yes. So it had the full range of bidet and everything like that. I'll say this: they allow you to have the hottest water in the world in Japan. Like literally, like I turned on the hot water, and like how you turn on the hot water, you're like, ooh, that's too hot. And I turn it down a little bit, and like, ooh, that's too hot. Like literally, when that marker said red, I mean that meant like do you want to boil an egg? It was just kind of like it was ridiculous. I don't know how anybody could. But yeah, I mean it was kind of neat because it was just kind of like you got up and you would like every morning I'd get up and I'd cross the street to this little convenience store. And there's convenience stores everywhere, and there are vending machines everywhere. And I would cross the street and I walk in this convenience store enough that the guy behind the counter started recognizing me and would smile when I walked in instead of just being very like straightforward. I don't notice the American, and I get a banana for $1, and I get a carton of orange juice for $1. Well, 100 yen for each one, and I would just and when you're in Japan, they don't want you to hand the money to them. Like that's like
right on the counter.
There's a tray. Everybody has a tray, and you put your money in the tray, and then they take the money out of the tray, and then they'll hand you back your change. And it's a very cash-oriented culture. They don't. I mean, there's a few places that would take credit cards, but almost like that's just not what they do. I mean, there definitely was crazy stuff to see. Everybody says, "Oh, the crazy, stuff you can find." I mean, you can find crazy stuff anywhere, but I mean, there was stuff that was just, crazy looking. Patrick Nickel bought these crazy looking like vegetable figurines and stuff like that when we were there. And there was a 5-story tall toy store that had pretty much everything you can think of, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I mean, like the whole vending machines. There was a vending machine for cupcakes. There was a vending machine, for, like all these crazy sodas that have weird names, like Pocari Sweat. And then I asked one of the I saw that, I was like, Pocari Sweat, what is this? And then I asked one of the Japanese fellows that I asked him about it. He's like, oh, it's like the drink is salty. And I was like, what? Yeah, like sweat. It's salty, like sweat. I was like, you're not selling me on this. Why would I buy this? You couldn't find Pepsi anywhere, but Coke was everywhere, which didn't bother me at all. Yeah, I don't know. It was a different place. I had some of the best ramen. I had the best ramen I'll ever have. Like, and when people say ramen, they think the microwave up your noodles and eat that. I mean, this was like ramen that they handmade the noodles, and the soup had been cooking for 2 days, and thick luscious slices of pork in it. So it was good stuff.
What's the time difference, Lance? 16 hours?
14 hours. 14 hours behind. So I was ahead I was ahead in time. So like it was so my back home it was a day earlier. So it was Thursday.
Did you send back the lotto numbers?
Yeah. It was Thursday at the game market when you guys were doing Alaboom. So and so when I came back, and I'm just finally kind of catching up on my sleep now. It's so weird. But when I came back, then it was one of those things where you had to you went back. Like I left at 4:00 and I got home at 3:30. So it was like I actually got home before I left technically.
You're the 13th Doctor.
Yeah, there you go. I'm something, but. Well worth going. I'm glad I experienced it. I think it would be really fun to take my wife if I could get her. She doesn't like the idea of flying that far. In that kind of a situation either. So I don't think I'll ever be able to convince her, but maybe someday I can. So who knows?
So, is Mothra really as much of a douchebag as they make him out to seem to be okay?
I thought I'd see more Godzilla stuff, honestly. But I mean, I did find some, and I did see some, but it was one of those things where I had the impression that it was more of a big deal, and it kind of just wasn't. I don't know. I mean, not that he wasn't, but I mean, I found a really cool Godzilla toy for my son, and I found
it's that last movie killed it for him.
I don't know about that, but I did find a really cool like Godzilla bank that remember those old school banks when you were a kid that you put the coin on the button, a little skeletal hand comes out and grabs it and pulls it. Yep. So I found one of those, but it's Godzilla, and so then he you hear the Godzilla, the classic Godzilla roar, and the Godzilla music hits, and he reaches out his Godzilla hand and pulls it up. And so yeah, I was impressed by that as far as that goes, and I was happy to get him his Godzilla bank. But
did you see any of the countryside, or was it all Tokyo? Other than that,
no, I saw. Like I said, we went to the one fishing village, which was really nice, and and that was kind of neat. I got to go to the beach and collect some shells and stuff. My wife really likes shells, so I collected a bunch of shells for her, and I got to there's cool signs on the ground that were like if tsunami warning signs, and it said where you were supposed to run and how far you had to run before you'd be safe. It was like from this point, it was like 370 meters in that direction if you hear the tsunami siren.
So you'd be dead. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was like stuff like that was kind of cool, and just obviously very different. Just like not expecting to see kind of those kinds of things. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Tokyo. I mean, it was one of the weird things about Tokyo that I shouldn't say weird, because it's not weird. It's just them, and it's different. But like every 9th or 10th person would have a mask over their face, and I asked Michael about that. I was like, are people just deathly afraid of getting sick here? And he's like, no. He said those people are sick. They're trying to make sure they don't make anybody else sick. Yeah. And I was like, and so basically they don't have, the only time you miss work is because you're in the hospital. You're sick, you just put that mask on and you wear a mask all day at work, and you go to work. And
at TotalCon this year, Emerson was just getting over a cold, and he wore a mask for the first 2 days he was there.
Yeah, and I was just, and then like Michael was telling me other stuff about it. It's just like when you're hired by a company, they have the mentality of they are going to hire you for the rest of your life. You can definitely go and work for somebody else if you decide to leave the company. I mean, that's your option. But they're in their mentality that you're going to work for them and they're going to take care of you. But the idea is that yes, you will come to work every day, and you will work from open until we close, and and then that'll be your job, and it's just kind of like, and so it was, there's stuff like that was really interesting, and yeah, I don't know, it's tough to it's definitely different there.
So what'd you bring us?
What do you mean what I bring you?
I don't know. Caleb got a Godzilla bank, and I got nothing.
Yeah. Well, you sound like like my daughter or somebody that's like, oh, what I get, because my daughter got stuff, but I mean she's getting older now, so it's kind of tough to. I got my daughter a bunch of Pokemon stuff. I went to a Pokemon store. So, I went to an actual board game store in Japan. It was called the Yellow Submarine, and Michael said it's like one of maybe 4 or 5 stores that are that. That are a store that is for board games and role-playing games, that sort of thing. Right. And it was kind of cool. I walked in. There was a group of young Japanese gentlemen playing Dungeon Quest. I had to kind of laugh, and I was watching them play that. That was kind of neat. And then there were 4 more tables, and they're all playing this game called Dorashore, which is a co-op RPG board game that there's a Kickstarter trying to bring it over, to translate it and bring it over, but the Kickstarter's failing. But I mean, the game looks super cool. There's 5 expansions for it. I mean, and people were playing it like crazy, and it looked a lot cool. It had metal miniatures and overproduced like crazy. It looked pretty cool. But anyway, so I went there, and this place had so many old out of print games that sadly were in Japanese, because it was here for $15 they had the old school Arkham Horror, just there, but it's all in Japanese. They had a wall of old war games from GMT and Avalon Hill and things like that, long out of print stuff. That just didn't shrink and probably in perfect condition, but and they priced some of the stuff they knew what they had was worth a lot of money, and then so they priced it for that. But I mean, it was it's like I said, it was perfect, but the whole thing would be in Japanese, so it'd be unusable for somebody that and it was that was crazy how many options they had as far as that goes. And then, of course, they had the racks of other stuff and everything like that. There was a cool and the other cool thing was that since everything is built up in Japan because there's not a lot of space. So everything's built up. So like a couple of times we would take a train to this location, and luckily, like I said, Michael knew where he was going. We'd get to a spot, and he'd be like, okay, and we walk up to this like completely nondescript building. Like you wouldn't it looks like every other building next to it. You'd go in, you'd go to the elevator, he's like, oh, floor 4, and like floor 4 opens up, and all of a sudden we're in a room with like 30 gamers, everybody sitting down at a table and playing games. Unless you knew it existed, unless you knew that this place was doing something, you wouldn't have any idea that this was going on. It was just, and like, just walking around in Tokyo, and he's like, okay, here we go, this is where we want to go, and just like, oh, okay, just, so yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I mean, there's just so many things to see, and I mean, you could go back another 10 times, and you probably wouldn't see everything that you wanted to, or that you would find interesting anyway. So I wish, like, with the logistics of bringing my children, there would be next to impossible crazy. It would be just a recipe for a disaster, as far as my sanity. But I wish I could have brought both my kids to that toy store just to give them, like, a couple of hours just to watch their faces explode in joy, to see all the stuff that was everywhere in that because that was crazy. Even I was just like eyes wide open. If they had the samurai Darth Vader and Boba Fett and those, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of those high-end models
from Bandai.
Yeah, and they had those. They were all sold out. Which, I mean, thank gosh, because I would have spent way too much money. But I mean, they had them there. I mean, you're just looking. That
you can buy them in Barnes and Noble.
What?
You can buy them in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I hadn't seen them anywhere else, and I saw them in a glass case. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is, these are amazing.
So you said most of the games you saw were like handmade prototype type deals, right?
A lot of like as far as like in the booths, like the where they have just they rented out this little tiny chunk of space. I mean, it's just like they were still well made. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was obviously they'd gone through a print run, so like when you get a little bit bigger, but a lot of the stuff was obviously just this little niche game that somebody created and really wanted to do. There was a game called Bahamut's Gate. It looked like a really fantastic, like it looked like it was a co-op, like D&D based like kind of monster game where like you had there was a circle in the middle, and I mean there's no way it wasn't in English at all, so I mean it was all Japanese, and like they were positioning these monsters on these different gates, and they were positioning their characters on different spots as well, and it was like the characters had multiple different stats and things like that, and they're rolling buckets of dice. The game looked amazing, but I mean, I almost thought about buying one for $40, even though there was absolutely no way I'd be able to figure out the rules anytime soon, if ever. But that guy like sold out of his game in like 10 minutes. It was just like people like he probably made 50 copies of it, and and then he was done. And like literally, it was kind of weird. He's like, so then I went back over there like 2 hours later, so I could maybe get somebody to teach me how to play the game or something like that. Yeah, he had just packed up his thing and left. Oh, I made my money. I'm out of here. He just packed up his booth and he left. Just like, I was like, huh, weird.
So what percentage of them would you say are publishable?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because like I said, the ones that you were able to play were so few and far between. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like you had to either have them have English rules that they had that you could either download or they have them printed off. So the smaller ones, I would say, it's just like probably anything else. Like 1 in 10 were probably like refined enough at that point to, be a published game. A lot of them, like probably with like somebody working it over and like, I don't want to say Americanize it, but I mean just make it so it's something that would fit the market, that would make people want to play it. Just like because it is a different kind of situation. I don't know for sure, but I get the impression that the idea of playing like a 3-hour Euro game isn't exactly what most of them would want to do. I mean, I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but but if you can come up with a quick little 30-minute game that has like 3 rules to it, then I think that you would probably you do really well with that. So. And yes, somebody mentioned Calpis. Yes, there is the Calpis.
Calpis?
Calpis is what it's Calpis, and that was one of those drinks that like Michael really liked, and it was a fermented milk sports drink is what they called it. So so there you go. But and he loved it. I tried some, and as Patrick Nichols said, it's like drinking squirt if you strained it through a dirty sweat sock first. And I think that is a pretty accurate representation. If you ever go to McDonald's and see if they have the Mega Mac, which was, and I had one. It's a Big Mac that has 4 patties instead of just 2, and yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, and if you wanted, you could have them put bacon on it. But here's the deal: you know how usually, like with a sandwich, like the bacon is crispy here. For them, they want the bacon like soggy. I don't understand what it is.
So why was Patrick there? Was it the same thing?
Same thing. He was there for now it's called Crash of Games, but now it's just same deal. He was just looking for games that he wanted to publish. I can't speak for what for him in that regard, but I know he tracked down a couple that he was really interested in. Michael and I played this really cool game that I think he wants to look into publishing. That it was called Sweet Nose, which was, once again, I don't know if the theme is going to come over. But basically, the theme is that each person is trying to collect these different candies, basically. And so there was, how do I even explain this? So like you have these candies, and there's a market of candies, and so on your turn, before the turn's out, you decide how many points each candy is going to be worth, depending on. So if you have those candies in front of you, they'll be worth that many points. And the trick is you're trying to score as little points as possible. Think you're playing hearts, like you're playing like a card game of hearts. You don't want to score points, but you can't shoot the moon, so don't take that out of hearts. So, so like you assign. There's 5 different types of candy. You assign different point totals to each one in secret, and then on your turn, you can either replace, take one of your candies and put it in the market, and take a candy out of the market and put it in front of you, or you can hand somebody a candy, and you have 2 spots in front of you. You have a bowl and a plate, and so you put a candy in their bowl, meaning they can't get rid of it, but then you take a candy off of their plate and put it in front of you. And so you keep doing this. You keep taking these actions, and you're trying to basically exchange the stuff off of front of you and trying to get the right stuff. But people can kind of see what you're going for, and then they can hand you what they think for you would be like a bad candy that you can't get rid of, and then take one back. And so like you have to have kind of a poker face and not react when people are trading things back and forth. It was pretty cool. I mean, it had like this very. They had a very. It was like a Chinese mythology tale of this guy named Sweet Nose that the guy explained to us exactly what it was, and I don't remember it exactly. Basically, the long of the short story was he found out that there was like a very, very good tasting candy in heaven, and he tried to go there, but this god then sent him down and sent him back down to earth and turned him into ants, which once again, I don't understand it, but but the game itself was very, very fun. I mean, it was just very, very quick deduction game and stuff like that. And so I know they're looking into that. Paul Tompkins hasn't eaten McDonald's in years, and so he's better than everybody.
I haven't either. Sure.
You know, in Europe, they don't have a quarter pounder.
What do they have?
It's a Royale with cheese.
Must be something to do with the metric system. Look at the big brain on Brett.
Oh, you know what I got to play?
What? Tell me.
Guilds of No, I didn't get to play Guilds of London.
Oh. I have a copy that I've played.
Yeah, Joel has one.
You're not special.
You know what? When I have more than 5 copies to hand out, then I will make sure you get one.
Ah, well, you got one and Joel got one.
Yep. We sent one to Rado and we sent one to Dan King.
Ah, I see what it is. Okay.
So, notice there was. Oh, and we sent one to a bigger podcaster than you.
All right. Good night.
No. Aw, Anthony.
Oh, wah, wah.
Well,
I thought Lance was my friend. He said, when I get that job.
Hey, did everybody see Civil War yet?
No.
I did. Yes.
I liked it. It's more of
I
a
liked
Avengers.
it.
It's not like the book, though. It's not like the book. It's not going to be like the
Shut your
book.
mouth.
Why isn't it like the book? It's not like the book.
That's a different situation.
Book in the wait, before you go there, if Game of Thrones, the TV show, was like the book, we'd be on season 6, and they'd still be discussing the feast from the first chapter.
Ooh, the mead and the curtains.
Hey, I'm liking this current season of Game of Thrones though so far.
I didn't see
Well,
this.
I've had problems with it, as we know, but that's
Right.
fine.
It's not like the books.
Well, I
can't use that excuse anymore because of the fact that
'cause they've
I have
gone
no
off the
idea
rails.
because they're going off and doing their own thing.
After the season's over, I want to talk about how I wish something had gone down that went down instead of how it did, just because I think it would be really cool. But we'll have to save that for about 10 weeks out, so we give a couple weeks for people to catch up.
All right, go back to your Civil War special.
No, that's fine.
I loved Spider-Man in Civil War, by the way.
Spider-Man and Ant-Man steal that movie.
Yeah, Spider-Man was just awesome, and I think it's the best screen portrayal of Spider-Man I've seen. That's just my opinion.
I heard that from a lot of people. Yeah. He's a kid, actually, at his time, instead of a 30-year-old.
Well, and it's the first time they've really shown how strong Spider-Man really is, I think.
But it also shows the Spider-Man from the comic books that doesn't shut up.
Exactly,
Right.
which is what I loved.
If you've ever seen ever read the episode the issues where Spider-Man and Deadpool are in the same issue,
Those gotta be just nuts.
it's like just them just talking the entire time. They don't shut up, and that's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
Right.
Like there's a little bit of it in the previous movies, but just not enough of it.
Right. There never has been enough of it in any of the movies. It's all been about just, and thank God we could have Spider-Man without having to tell a damn origin story again.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. Yes.
How many times do you have to watch a dude get bit by a damn spider? Spoilers.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's one of those things where they've definitely glossed over it. I can only assume in the Spider-Man movie they will reference it. You know.
But reference it, don't tell the whole thing. And you don't have to tell it in a damn Superman movie either. We know how Superman got here, too.
Well, all right. I mean, I can agree to a point. But it's just they can't not reference it. I mean, they have to reference Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, and then the great power, great responsibility. I mean, that's iconic. You have
You
to
can reference it, but you don't have to spend 45 minutes telling it.
Well, no. I mean, I'm not saying that they need to make it crazy or anything like that. I'm just saying that.
You can reference that the Kents found Superman and move on. You don't have to show him growing up every movie.
I don't exactly agree with that, because Superman, between the first one in, what was it, 78, and the Man of Steel, there's, 30 years there, 20 years, whatever. They're kind of reintroducing it to a new generation. Whereas Spider-Man's only been like, what,
The
10?
new generation has Wikipedia. They can figure it the hell out.
Yeah, but you can't rely on that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
silly.
The Spider-Man movie, I will agree with. They
But it
created-
is such an ingrained part of modern culture, the origin of Superman. If anybody cares, they know.
Mm.
Kabuki,
Superman has been around since 1938.
Kabuki wants to know if the recent Spider-Man movies are any good. The first one of the recent two was all right. The second one was garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was kind of, it was okay, but then the second one was just like, how many villains can we throw into this that are just gonna make it awful? Oh, okay, well.
My rule of thumb is the first reboot of every Spider-Man movie is all right, and every subsequent movie in that reboot is garbage. The giant Jamie Foxx electric monster was the dumbest thing I have seen since the big electric monster in the Hulk movie.
Yeah. I thought. Yeah. I mean, he. I did like the look of surprise as when Spider-Man just catches what's his name's fist, Bucky's fist, and just holds on to it, and he doesn't realize that this little skinny guy is that strong, just holding. He's like, you have a metal arm? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Just yeah. The whole thing with, I don't know what he threw like that giant metal thing at Spider-Man, and he catches it and he goes, "Hey, you forgot this!" Just throws it back at him.
And that's what I really dug, because Spider-Man's really strong, but we forget about it in all the other Spider-Man movies because he always gets the crap knocked out of him by the average baddie.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's super strong. That's kind of part of what he is. He doesn't just crawl and swing.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, no spoilers. I mean, just that one line though, just like it, and I don't know, it just resonated with me. The whole, I don't care. He killed my mom. I was just like, yeah, that's yeah, I can agree with everybody in this situation right now.
I still like I've only done this once. It was in the lab. And then you had that moment right after. You're like,
the weird thing about that is.
Anthony, type who said that in the chat to me in the Google chat, because I forgot, and I think I have missed that.
I just did.
The thing about that is that I knew that was going to happen because of the fact, and weirdest thing ever, my son gets a Lego gets like a Lego magazine every like 2 months, and it lists off all the new Lego sets and everything that they can get. And they listed like they were talking about, like there's a set, the battle at the airport.
Yeah.
And that's the set, and then in that set they said includes special,
Spoiler.
yeah, total, includes special X-ray. I was like, really? Well, I guess I know somebody showing up, in that moment. So I was just kind of like,
I mean, you had to expect that individual to show up.
once again, they show Ant-Man like being thrown at a plane, and then when he hits it, he puts a dent in the side of the plane because he's this small, compact person that weighs a lot.
He can still fly on an arrow.
He can still fly an arrow, and when he made a gas truck very tiny, and then they throw it, and then they make it big again, they're still able to throw this like 4-ton gas truck like it's like a toy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of funny how it gets inconsistent. I mean, the tank on the keychain in Ant-Man was the perfect example of them not following through with some of their stuff.
Just fast and loose with the, and then by that definition, spoilers. I don't want to say anything, but I mean the alternate whatever. I mean it's just obviously the whole mass and weight and thing just is, like I said, they just play with it fast and loose and go whichever way they want with that, just to make it however they want.
So in seeing the movie, there were trailers, and I got excited for the X-Men movie a little bit, and I'm hoping I'm not disappointed. And I got excited only for one reason, because I saw Nightcrawler,
Yeah.
who is my favorite X-Man.
One of my favorites.
He was the first character I ever saw curse in a comic.
Really?
Back when I was younger. Yeah,
Mhm.
because they let him curse in German. And I knew enough German to understand what he was saying. And you didn't see swear words in most comics at that time when I was younger.
That's fair. I'm trying to think. I always like Rogue. I don't know. I just thought she was cool.
Rogue was always cool.
So speaking of Rogue, did you see the Rogue One trailer in the movie theater on the big screen?
I did.
So here's my problem with the Rogue One idea. Not that I don't have any problem with the heroes or who they've picked to play them or anything like that. I don't have any problem with it. So I was thinking about this. Okay, so they call it Rogue One, which is obviously a homage to the fact that Luke Skywalker has the Rogue Squadron. I mean, that's what I'm guessing, right? So, however,
Rogue Squadron's a different one, I think.
well, but remember, like Red 5, Red 4,
Yeah,
Red
he's
1.
red, not Rogue.
Yeah, but in Empire, because of his because of the Battle of Yavin, he becomes the leader of Rogue Squadron, who then he gives up after he does his Jedi training and gives it to Wedge Antilles, who becomes leader of Rogue Squadron. Yada yada yada. Anyway, regardless, so it's my feeling is it's an homage to it, right? So.
Right. And the whole
Okay.
book series about Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, there you go. So, but this movie happens before A New Hope.
Correct.
So Rogue Squadron doesn't exist yet, nor does it anything about Rogue Squadron exist yet. So, okay, so the name is just an homage. It's kind of taken out of time and place and doesn't really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is, but it doesn't really fit, so to speak. Fine, whatever. Here's my problem. It's probably going to be an amazing story. It's probably going to be an amazing movie. It's probably going to be something that I'm very much going to enjoy seeing. However, how can any of the people that are a part
Survive?
of this be alive? Because
Exactly.
they would be in A New Hope. I mean, it's just like
You would have heard of them.
no, like yeah. I mean, the one guy like is. I've heard that he's Biggs. The one guy, like, is that supposed to be Biggs Darklighter? Like the dude that you see like in the trailer?
I don't know.
I mean, I somebody told me that, and I was like, well, if it's Biggs, that makes sense because Biggs is in A New Hope, and you see Mon Mothma, who obviously was in A New Hope.
Right.
But I mean, as far as the girl and what's his face, who we don't know what he's playing,
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker, and we don't know exactly what he's.
Yeah, they're kind of tight-lipped on who's playing what. You can look at the cast, and you can see Jyn Erso, who is the lead, Mon Mothma. Then you move into Stormtrooper, X-Wing pilot, personnel, X-Wing pilot, rebel officer, and there are no more named people.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to be cool about this movie, to me, I'm sorry, is there's no Jedi.
Well, there might be. You don't know.
There's no Jedi.
How do you know?
The only Jedi that would be in this would be Darth Vader.
But once again,
Obi-Wan?
And
Obi-Wan
Palpatine.
could be it.
No, because they're supposed to be hidden. No one has heard of from the Jedi.
He's hidden, but somebody could have gone to check him out because obviously the Rebel Alliance knew where he was because they sent someone to find him. They knew he was on Tatooine. That's why she left the message right before she was captured for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but does she know he's a Jedi?
She doesn't necessarily know that, but that doesn't mean there's not a Jedi.
Because
in the film.
she does say that you fought my father in the Clone War.
Served my father in the Clone Wars, which
Yeah.
that never really happened, but oh well.
But the one thing about the Rogue One trailer that I'm a little off on is the samurai-like character who's like fighting with the bow staff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember his name.
Trying to remember, but
There's like a scene, and he looks like a traditional. It's Donnie Yen is the actor who's playing him, but he's fighting with like a bow staff, so he's supposed to be Jedi-like, but it's very traditional.
Maybe it's the Jedi from Imperial Assault, because she doesn't have a lightsaber. She just starts with a stick.
I doubt they went to a board game for source material. Keith.
Hey, you never know. It's Disney, man. It's all tied together.
That's true.
Isn't that the Jedi's name from the Imperial Assault? Isn't that Jin or something close to that?
The rogue in there, her name is Jin, also different last name.
Oh man, they ruined it.
No.
But I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to seeing the walkers not in the snow.
Yeah.
I like those.
How many?
What'd you do to Lance?
We booted him out. He went back to Japan.
Oh, okay.
How many of these Star Wars stories are there? I know there's Han Solo and
Boba Fett.
There is a Boba Fett. Okay. So there's 3.
Those are the ones we know of.
There's going to be all of them for the rest of eternity until people quit buying tickets to see it because Disney owns it.
Oh yeah.
There
Well,
will be as many Star Wars movies as there are Marvel movies.
They may give up on it like they did with Infinity.
That's true. They
That
could give up on
shocked me.
Infinity.
And I'll tell you the sad thing. I don't mind that they're going to kill making the toys and making new games. What sucks is they're going to shut down the servers and they're going to kill that community-created content, which exists for that. And that's the real shame because that was the strength of that platform.
Oh, I didn't even know that even existed. My kids play
Yeah, Disney Infinity, you can create your own stuff, which you can still do, but they have online. You can go online through your console or whatever you're playing, and you can download the worlds other people made and upload it. And so people like recreated the Magic Kingdom in Infinity and their own levels and all this stuff, and that'll be the death of all that, right? So that's a shame. That's the shame of all of it.
Oh, sucks for them.
Yep. It sucks for the people that bought into it and really enjoy it.
I'll use my Stallone Cobra response. That's okay. I don't shop you.
And I've been a big fan of the toy video games, the Skylanders and stuff like that, but I think the best one of them right now is the Lego one. I think it's better than all of them.
The Lego Dimensions?
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a pain in the ass to play from what I've heard from people.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
So
it's just like the other Lego games.
Yeah, but don't you have to get up and change the thing that's on the pod?
Well, that's with all those toy-based games. You always have to change the characters off of them.
Right, but if you could keep playing with the same character if you wanted to, but you have to change them in Lego, don't you?
But you can put 6 of them on the thing. Now, once in a while, there's a puzzle where you have to arrange them in the different spots on the platform to do it, which is a pain. But I just put the platform next to me when I play it. Got a big box of this stuff. But it's better gameplay overall than Skylanders or Infinity, in my opinion.
It's funny. I haven't really had any desire to play any video games in so long. It's
yeah, neither have I.
I bought a new video game yesterday to play. I had to play the new Uncharted. I like Uncharted.
Isn't this supposed to be the last one or something?
I have no idea. I don't follow that close. Could be.
Yeah, I used to play like Madden and a couple of the NHL games and stuff, but
I used to play everything, and now it's like I'll buy one new video game every quarter at this point.
I'm not a first-person shooter kind of.
No, I'm so sick of first-person shooters, I can't stand it. I want to play Fallout. I want to play Skyrim. I want to play RPGs mostly. Even if they're action like those games.
And I used to play Grand Theft Auto, but never played the missions. I would just
the first time I played Grand Theft Auto, that's how I played it, is just run around and sandboxing it. Then I played GTA 4 and actually played the whole game. Like, actually, this is kind of interesting. And then I never touched another one. I was done.
I was just seeing how many different cool things I can get the cars on top of.
Yeah. You just played. Yeah, that was a good part of it.
How long can I drive on the train track without getting hit by the train?
Yeah, how long can I survive once I do something really stupid? There's a lot of that.
So, Keith, what's this BBG incident you were speaking of? I was down the shore for the last 4 or 5 days. I don't have internet down there yet.
It came to light that there was a individual who posted a lot of trades, et cetera, and so forth. Emailed a lot of publishers saying that his games were stolen from his car, and
So
then he started listening.
his car was actually was broken into,
Yeah,
and we know that a laptop was taken, and that was in a backpack in the back seat, along with his wallet. That's all in the police report, and there was some stuff that was in the trunk that got taken, apparently.
right.
It turned into the whole back seat was full of games. So he
There
emailed
were more
the publishers.
games than I could fit in a pickup truck.
Yeah, so he started emailing these publishers. Most of them were like people who had done stuff on Kickstarter, saying, "Hey, I bought a copy of your game, and it was in the car," and sent the police report, with the pictures showing that the car was broken into and everything. And a couple people were like, "Oh my God, I feel really bad for the guy. You know what? I'll send him a copy of the game."
Right.
But then one of the publishers was like, "How did you get a copy of the game? Like, what's your background number?" He's like, "Oh no, I bought it from somebody else." And the guy was like looking because he hadn't sent out all the games yet, so it was almost impossible for him to have a copy from somebody. So
And then one of the games he mailed about has not even been printed yet.
Right. So he posted something. The publisher posted something on BGG and said, "Hey, just a heads up." And then all of a sudden, the well broke loose, and all of these other publishers came out and said, "Yeah, he contacted us with the same thing. Yeah, he contacted us with the same thing. Yeah, he contacted us with the same thing."
One of them was a review copy, and they're like, "But you never did a video." Well, I didn't really like the game. Then why are you asking for it to be replaced?
But the thing about it was not even just that. It was the fact that the car was broken into like a month ago, and he was telling them it was broken into last week.
Yeah.
Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah, and then he
We
finally
haven't named names, but
he finally got the pressure put on him. Well, I guess he found out that everyone was talking, and he came clean.
to Common Man.
Yeah, to the publisher, to Common Man, and saying, yeah, he was wrong and blah blah blah, and but now he's since disappeared.
Yeah, because he followed me on Twitter, and now his Twitter's gone. He's been banned from BGG.
Banned from Reddit too.
Yeah, so and turns out I looked, I'm like, why does that name sound familiar other than just seeing it online? And I look, I'm like, oh, the last time I bought a game on the BGG marketplace was from this guy. So it might be a stolen game. My game might be hot.
I mean, like I said, I don't want to pile on. Obviously, the guy's just kind of well, he's got his demons. Let's just put it like that, and he's got his thing to work out. But this is the guy that did try to publicly call me out because I would not send him copies of games that I got for review. I wouldn't then send them on to him, and he would say that other publishers had said they wanted me to do it, and then they would say they'd never heard from him, and then he would say, "Oh, it must have been a different guy that I talked to. Sorry." And then I was just like, "All right, whatever," and I didn't really think too much about it. But then the more and more, it was just really, and then he would later he would say, "Yeah, I'm totally cool. I'm totally fine with it." And then later somebody would say something on Twitter nice about me, and then he would run me down. And I didn't respond. I was just like, I'm just gonna let it die in the vine, and he could, he would just complain about the fact that he sent me some ranting email once about the fact that, oh, if my name was Rodney or Tom or Joel, I bet you'd send me the copy. Or
Dan King.
and then I said, no, if your name was Rodney, Tom, or Joel, you would have already gotten the game, and I wouldn't have to send it to you. So I just whatever, buddy. I don't owe you anything, and I just kind of let him. But I almost always say it's always better just to not respond and just let it die in the vine. The moment you actually interact is the moment you give any kind of whatever vision, idea, theory, whatever that they have any kind of credence, and it just perpetuates from that point forward. So it's just easier just to say, okay, well, I'm just not going to respond and move forward. So
You know what they call that, Lance?
what?
Japanese nice.
Yes, maybe. So there you go. I mean, it's too bad, and the thing is that it's very good that somebody finally called him out on whatever it is that he was doing. I remember his big thing is that he said that I had had screwed him out of money because he would, he said, I once I do reviews, I then sell the games that I got for review after I review them, so I can save up money to buy a house. And I was just like, and I think I even mentioned that on this show, and I remember Barry even said, so saving up for a house, $30 at a time, it was just kind of like...
Well, and the funny thing is, the emails to the publishers to ask for a new game mention that he's trying to buy a new house, as well as get a dog and have a baby. So the Geek List is worth going to read. I will say that.
And it's just like I said, it is too bad that he took advantage of the situation. Hopefully, he's learned something from it, and then and then everybody can move forward, and just and be okay. So.
But the one thing I wanted to say about the whole thing that is key here, and the good takeaway if you go through that Geek List is, while you're talking about a despicable act by one person, you see the generosity of the small publishers in this industry. And that is the nice takeaway, because these people are actually willing to help somebody out. And it's not like these guys are rolling in dough. So there is a nice story hidden in the tragedy, if you will.
No, I understand completely. So, yeah, and it's just, if it was me breaking the story, then I'd say, yeah, let's just pile on and talk about it for the next 3 hours. But he's definitely been raked over the coals, and the information's out there if you want to find out about it. So there you go. That's pretty much all I want to say about that. It's just, it is cathartic to express your disbelief in just about how horrible somebody can be, but it's best just to let it go.
Why are people fucking up my hobby?
There is something to say about that. It's it's just, but the thing is, like you just said, it is few and far between that you run into that situation.
The other thing about this whole situation is then you run into the guys who are trying to actually do reviews and shows and whatever, and they're trying to get review copies from people, and they're eager to do the reviews. They're going to do the review and follow through, and they're not getting a copy because someone like that guy is getting one.
Well, and I'll say that there might be some of that, but I mean, how many different reviewers and bloggers and whatever are there out there? I mean, there's even 7% of us are supposedly podcasters or love podcasts. So I mean,
I've stopped. I've decided that my watch is done, and I'm going to do nothing but videos now. I'm going to turn on the camera. I got a jar behind me. I didn't get gefilte fish. I decided to get something different. So I have pickled herring.
No, very good, very good.
And I'm just going to talk for 25 minutes about Kickstarters.
25 minutes? You're being kind of generous.
Oh, jeez. Hey, to quote the great Rodney, get some new material, okay?
Did he get a copy?
Probably.
I don't think so.
We get a recount. Let me see.
Hey, my mom's watching us.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. She wants to know where you're all from. Okay, let's see here. Anthony.
I'm not from Minnesota.
So everybody introduce yourselves to my mom. She's watching.
Hi, Lance's mom.
Hi,
I'm Anthony.
Lance's mom.
I'm from New York. I tried to make your son a bad person, but apparently you made him such a good person he won't change.
She wants to know who's the guy in the blanket smoking.
That's Jabba.
Jabba standing.
He's doing a PSA why you shouldn't smoke in bed.
Yes.
So he's smoking on the couch.
Mother, that is Barry Reynolds.
Yes.
Barry, where are you from?
Delaware. I live in Delaware now.
Yeah, but you were from Philly, right?
I am originally from Philly, yes.
Yes. And the professional hanger-on? Who has business cards for the professional hanger-on?
Yeah, I made that.
Hey, you should have asked me for the Alaboom thing. You could have used that for your background or whatever.
Well, I did. It's got
You
the
did.
graphic on it.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. never
Yeah, I
mind.
put the graphic covering the full back, and then I put it on the front as well, on both sides.
And Keith is from Philly.
No, I'm from Indiana.
Keith is from I can't. I miss having our Lithuanian gentleman on.
I do too.
Yeah.
I miss
F
having
you,
him.
Robin.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Robin, for abandoning us.
Shh,
But-
don't curse in front of Lance's mother.
I didn't curse. I said F you.
Um,
I let Barry do the cursing.
Yeah, I do play for all of us.
no.
Use guys.
Use
Use
guys.
guys.
No. I just it's what I was saying about that though is like it's so rare that you're gonna run into that bad thug of a idiot. I mean, just like.
Yeah, it's just you expect this in like the video game hobby or other hobbies. Just
Well, I mean, we're getting big, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna have situations where you're just gonna. That's unfortunately gonna happen.
I
know,
mean,
and
it is
there's
what
not
it
much you
is.
can do.
Eventually,
And
somebody
as my wife says, is what it is. Nobody ever says that about anything that's good.
Nope.
So, there you go.
Oh, before I do go tonight, before I forget, public service announcement: Gen Con events go on sale Sunday. So, if there's anything you really want to do at Gen Con, go get your events booked this Sunday, or it will probably be gone if you really want to do it if it's popular.
What is there something you really want to do?
Nope, but I've been through the list and didn't find anything I really wanted.
I'll point out a couple of things.
I saw some things I'm interested in. Kirkman and Lonius's game.
Oh, the
Fate of the Elder Gods.
Fate of the
Yeah.
Elder Gods. Yeah, I have a copy of
looks
that coming.
interesting.
You're a corporate stooge now.
I am a stooge. I'll
You
fully accept my stooginess. Not much I can do about that. It's
I need to find a stooge that can hook me up with an exhibitor badge for Gen Con.
you can't get Ignacy to help you out or something like that.
I'd actually have to do work for him then. I just want to buy it.
I thought Travis was going to help you out.
He might. I haven't asked him for sure yet.
Yeah.
I feel guilty bumming the same person every time. Like, I've done it once, but I'll throw in. I'll help people haul boxes. But
Well,
I'm
Lance,
going
did
to
you,
commute to Gen Con this year, so
did you get your press badge yet for Origins?
I never got one, but then now I just
Yeah.
TMG got me one, so I was just like, well, whatever. What do you do? No, I think that the whole thing with Jim is gonna it'll be fine, and like I mean, the only thing that really makes me wonder is like he does seem like it does seem almost pathological. You know, it does seem like it's just like the incapability of being able to just tell the truth. You know, so you know, it just which is, you know, because even like when he was trying to explain himself in some way, you know, he was still spinning a lie. You know, like basically somebody offered up the olive branch and just said, hey, you know, here you can tell us your side of the story. Go ahead. And he was still spinning it. You know, looking for a way out. You know, and that's just a weird way. That's just kind of sad. You know, but you know, what do you do?
And it's probably one of those things where, you know, it was one, and maybe there was a legitimate thing. They realized, wow, people are giving me stuff. Maybe I can just keep getting stuff. I don't know. I mean, that does happen a lot of times. It starts off innocent and goes bad. Or it may have been bad the whole time.
Well, actually, one of the bad things that came from this whole thing is the fact that he ran some charity thing.
And now everybody wonders.
Oh my gosh! I mean, that's the one. And if he did, that's like go to jail. You know, seriously. I mean, if you run a charity and it was fake, that's like you're stepping into like world-class felony situation.
Yeah. So nobody knows because like he did Extra Life, and everyone knows, everyone can attest that money was actually donated and everything. So
because you can't take the money yourself. It has to go to your Extra Life page.
Oh no, you can take the money and then donate it yourself.
I understand that, but you at your Extra Life page, they donate the money to your page, and then that money just goes.
Yeah, but you can get actual donations in person.
You can get donations in person, and then send the payment into them. You don't have to do it on their website.
Oh well, I mean, I'm assuming that like he did it, like
that he actually did on the website, so that's all there, and it wasn't that far from the time he did the other charity. So let's just assume that he did the right thing. But of course, people are going to be, you know, wondering, you know, what the hell he did with that. It was like $4,000 or something that he earned for that charity thing. So.
And they're always going to wonder because they'll never know the real answer.
Well, you could investigate it. I mean, and like if you can't, I mean, if you could show a propensity to the possibility of fraud, which has now been shown and fairly proven, you could then, you know, if somebody wanted to spend the time and decided it was worth investigating, they would be able to say, okay, well, you did this charity, so we would like to see the receipts of, you know, what you collected, and we'd also like to see, you know, where where the money went and who it was for, and, you know, like, could you please come up with that? And if they don't, well, you know, then you're in a situation. So.
And it would suck to be him if he didn't do the right thing.
Well, but if he didn't, then I'm of the mind that yes, then there should be a punishment.
Oh, yeah. There should be.
For the situation. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be the one. I'm not going to be standing up and, like, you know, calling for blood and you know, get the torches and the pitchforks. But I am of the opinion that, like, you know, if you've been doing something horrible, then you need to pay the piper. And if he collected $4,000 for, you know, the Boston Marathon tragedy and pocketed the cash, then you should be. Yeah, you're scum. I mean, and you move beyond. Okay, hitting people up. I mean, okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is obviously very weird of me to think this, but I mean, okay, so you send out a blanket email to 100 publishers trying to get a game from them. They package up this game. They send you this game. You can then possibly turn around this game and get like get $40 for it, and then you have to go through the process of sending it. That is a lot of work for very little return. I mean, you know, think of the amount of time. I mean, sending an email, 10 minutes. Going through the process, back and forth, you know, whatever. Getting it, posting it, getting that $40, you're talking about a couple hours of work. You know, sending it, going to the post office, packaging it up. It's a couple hours of work for like $40. So it's like $20 an hour, right? That's like ludicrous as far as like, that's a lot of work for, admittedly it's still stealing. It's still fraud. It's still
an
horrible.
amateurish scam though. Because
Yeah,
it's not worth anything.
But if you set up a website and you prey upon people's like feelings about, I mean, I can remember seeing in the Denny's and seeing the reports come in for the explosion about the Boston Marathon, and I was watching that. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible, and I was just, like, and then it's just like the wrenching emotions you have over it. So it's like, if you turned around and tried to scam people for that, I mean, and once again, nobody knows if he did or not. So I don't want people to think that I'm like, tying up the noose already. I mean, it's just, he very well could have done the right thing, and this is, but it's if it is, and then yes, then you are scum, for preying upon a tragedy like that. But anyway, there you go.
All right,
that's my thought.
let's talk about something
If your mom's
else.
not watching, tell us what you really think.
Mom just texted you. That's my boy. That's my baby.
Boy,
Oh, my mama loves me, so I'm her
glad
baby
someone
boy.
does.
Yes. My wife dropped her phone and broke it this evening. That was like when I vanished for a while. That's where I had to go. She was like, "Can you get my phone to work?" And no, she it dropped it and fell off the sink and like landed perfectly on like the metal thing on her belt, and now it just won't turn on. It's just hashed. I'm like, I
Probably
guess
broke the solder on the battery connection from the circuit board. I had that happen to a phone.
Hey, thanks, Dad. But anyway, but like I said, it looks like I'm going to be going and buying a new Galaxy S7 for my wife tomorrow. So I have my plans made for me. That's okay. She needed a new phone. She was like 3 models behind. So
Shouldn't you be working tomorrow?
well, it's not like I'm going to be doing it at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to get up and do it.
Maybe if there's time, go to Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, if there's time. No, it'll be. I'll probably take care of it after I go get my son from preschool. Well, I guess I'll take it there and see if they can fix it. But let's be honest, I doubt they can. I remember the last time when my phone like one morning when I got my new phone. This is over 2 years ago. When it just. Like nobody could hear me when I talked into it, but like the speaker portion of it worked just fine. And so I kind of like fussed around with it for a while, but then I found that to be really annoying. And then all of a sudden I couldn't hear it if it rang, but I could hear people talk, which didn't make any sense to me. And the speaker that would be for the ringer wouldn't work for the ring, but it would work for like a person's voice coming out of it, and so it was just like this. I could still text, I could still cruise the web and everything else on it. It was just like these weird, and then when I would like be using it, and like I would hit like a button, like literally the button would stick, and I'd be like, "Where are?" I'm like, no, I don't need 17 R's. I'm like trying to erase it, and so every text I would send or whatever would like take me like 8 tries before I could finally get to go through. And I dealt with it for like 2 weeks until finally I was just going insane. And then I took it in and I was like, yeah, hey, my phone, this, that, and the other thing. And I had insurance on it even, and I was just like, can you fix this? And the guy looked at it and he was like, did you restart it? It's like, thanks. Okay. It's like, could I get somebody else to help me? I said, he didn't think I was nearly as funny as I thought I was. But and then eventually, like, he's like, well, we got one thing we can try. And he was like, what? And he's like, well, we have a diagnostics thing in the back that I can attach it to, and we can figure it out. And it's like the NBA lottery. It doesn't happen in front of me. So for all I know, he goes back there, throws it on a table, talks to his buddies for like 5 minutes, comes back out. Yeah, we couldn't fix it. It's like, oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll go pick out a new phone then. You jerk. So that was why I got a new phone. So. And that's kind of how it works though with phones. You keep them until they break, right?
Some of us.
Well, I used to just update my phone every time a new iPhone came out, so once a year. But I've not been doing that now.
I don't do that. My wife would like to. I won't let her. My sister-in-law does. Yeah. My phone was 5 years old. I had the third iPhone, the 3G, I think it was, and I just got a new one this year.
Yeah, I tend to stick with my phones for a long time, though I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like the Galaxy S7 is a pretty sweet-looking phone, but I don't want to give up my giant Note. I like how big the Note is, and the fact that the screen is got a lot going on. I can do more with it, so I don't know.
We may be getting. I'm trying to get rid of this carrier. Jen's iffy about it.
Yeah? Well, who do you go through?
We got AT&T, but they gouge you. It's.
Yeah, I don't know. I was fairly envious of Patrick. He has T-Mobile, and he can just use it anywhere.
Yeah.
He was using it in Japan. It was just fine, and I was pretty envious of it, but I was just kind of like, also it was like, well, what do you do? I couldn't really do anything about it, just. But then again, how many times am I going to leave the country? I just don't see it happening all that often for me. So I'm just kind of like, well, neat, but oh well.
Yeah, I like I'm with AT&T, and I don't switch anything because I still like my unlimited data plan because
See, I
I'm
don't
still
have that.
I'm grandfathered, so
Yeah,
they can pry that out of my cold dead hands.
I had that forever, but then I realized that like my data, I didn't need unlimited, and it was just like, and I could save like $75 a month if I went with a new plan.
Oh, I don't save that much if I went to a new plan. It's a good price. So.
That's where we got screwed because I use very little data. Like the latest bill, it's like I use 300 megabytes.
Well, that's because you don't get out of that chair.
That's true. Jen just went through 2 gigs. And it's like that we're paying. I think it's another $20 extra for 3 more gigs or something like that, or it'll charge you $15 a gig if you go over. And I'm already spending like $180 for 3 cell phones, and it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I am looking at T-Mobile, but Jen got attached to this iPhone she has, which will be just like the new iPhone she'll get with another carrier. But it's her phone.
Well, aren't they universal phones where you can just swap the SIMs yet? I thought they'd switched that.
I don't know if they are.
I think they are now, but I'm not sure.
We have the 6s. She has that stupid big one, and I have the regular one. So I don't know if they do or not.
Hey, don't you be calling this 6 Plus stupid big. I love it.
It's like putting a tablet to your head. Well,
see, but I also have the iPad Pro, which is gigantic too. So yeah, I just scaled everything up. So no, regular iPad feels tiny to me, just like an iPhone 6 feels tiny to me after being used to the bigger screens.
I went online. I was actually looking at going backwards to the 5 because even mine, the regular one, I don't know where it is. It's too big for me. It's you put in your pocket, it takes up the whole pocket.
But that's the only thing that goes in my phone pocket. My phone pocket has my phone in it. That's it.
Interesting.
Not really.
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a phone is a phone is a phone. I mean, what was weird in Japan? I saw more people with flip phones than I've seen in years. I mean, flip phones were really, really common, especially in adults, age between 30 and 50 years old. They had flip phones. Young kids, all smartphones. I remember when I first got on, we landed in Narita, and then I don't know why I'm like this is Narita right here. We took the train. You can almost see it, but no. Riding the trains are actually kind of cool in Japan. Everything, you rode a train everywhere. But anyway, so we land, and then you travel. And the train ride from our from the airport to Ueno, which is where we stayed, it was about a 2-hour train ride, and so we were just kind of sitting there, and I was all lagged out from the flight, so I was just totally just fine with just being able to sit on this train and relax. And the second or third stop that we made, this gaggle of high school aged children came in, and that was my first real experience of people wanting to look at me, like, because I was so odd, like out of place, and an anachronism, if you will. But they didn't want to notice that I was looking at them. And I have no way for sure, but it was like they all got on, and they're all like all these boys and girls are like laughing, teenagers, high schoolers, like laughing, having a good time, and then they see me, and they all kind of stop talking, and they all kind of look at me, and then like they see me looking at them, and then they look straight forward, and they look at each other, and they all sit down, and then they kind of start glancing over towards me, and then they notice that I'm looking at them, and then they all got out their phones and started laughing over and over again, and I was just like, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure you're texting about me right now.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah.
What
I
is
think
that?
cell phones are the
Really?
death of our society.
I swear it's going to eat us.
No, nothing. Nobody got eaten.
Call the army. Godzilla's here.
Brrr. No, it was, but yeah, that was like my first kind of experience to that, and yeah, I mean, it was go
Well,
if you ever get a chance, go to Japan once in your life.
That's why I got into the gaming hobby, because my sister-in-law, my sister, and my wife were sitting around a table playing the same game on their fucking cell phone instead of interacting with each other. Yeah. It was like, it's retarded.
So have you given up on the e-cigarette there, buddy? You're just going to straight cigarettes now?
Nah, something happened to it. I think I gotta get a new one.
Your R2-D2 arm broke on you?
I think it did. It's like the batteries are fully
I was
charged.
gonna say, did you replace
but
the
you keep
battery?
saying they're dead.
Did you reboot it?
Did you reboot it? Did you
Yeah.
reboot your R2-D2 arm?
I
Can
gotta
you please
reboot it.
try unplugging and plugging it back in, please?
I gotta reboot it. I'm sorry. Yeah, it didn't work.
Plug it into your computer. I can access it from Windows.
Put it in H.
It has a virus.
Yes,
If you give me your bank account number, I can re-enable it.
I believe it.
So, Lance,
Yes.
did you hear about the Peachy Printer Kickstarter fiasco?
Peachy Printer, please tell me. This sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, so they had this thing on Kickstarter, which was the cheapest 3D printer thing. This thing ran like in 2012 or something. I don't know, maybe before that. So they raised
Nothing but good can come out of this story. I can already tell.
they raised 651,000 and change Canadian dollars in Kickstarter, another 75 almost on Indiegogo. And one of the guys is now under investigation because he stole $324,000 of the money to build a house. And the thing that's making this worse is in 2014, his partner filmed his confession, apparently under duress, as he told the BBC, and then released it today or yesterday. He released it yesterday on YouTube.
Okay.
So him confessing that he took the money to build this house, and now that the house is at the stage where he can get a mortgage on it, he is going to now pay the money back with the mortgage payments or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's.
So it's just, I mean, and this is, I mean, and I should be stunned, right? I should be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody did this, but it's yet another situation where how many thousands of Kickstarter projects go, and then you just have the sheer numbers speak to the fact that you're eventually just going to have people that are jerks. You know, you can't prevent it, right?
It's quite an interesting video to watch. We'll say that.
What does he say?
Well, the thing about it is, it's not just him, like talking head to the camera. The other guy who's the partner, the guy who did all the tech stuff to develop this thing, this other guy was in charge of the financial stuff, and apparently they didn't set up a business account, so they deposited all the money into his personal bank account.
Nice.
But he basically asks him questions about what he did with the money and why with this and that. It's like he interrogates him. And what makes it worse is they filmed this in 2014 and he just released it now.
Crazy. Well, that's just. I mean, it just.
It was a
Well,
$100 3D printer and scanner.
how could anybody possibly think that was going to be good? I mean, I mean, it's just. What's the old saying? If it sounds too good to be true, it is. You know, I don't know. I just it's I don't know. It stinks. I don't want to see people get ripped off. You know, I mean, but it's just at a certain point you have to just kind of say, well, you know,
Common sense.
yeah, I don't know. It's just maybe it's just not going to work. You know, I don't know.
What I'm seeing a lot of though now, every once in a while I go and I look at other things on Kickstarter and I look at it and I go, oh, that's kind of cool. And then like they have a website thing and I go, let me see what else what these people are about. And they have the same exact things available on their website to order already. So why are you there? Right now, and I'll say it because they look really cool. They're really expensive. So right now on the tabletop game thing, there is a Kickstarter for these wooden collapsible dice towers, and these really cool like dice holding cups that are actually wooden D20s, where one side is magnetically attached and you pop it off, and it's like a lined cup inside. They're really really cool looking. So I click on the website, and you can buy them there right now. So I don't know what the purpose is, but yeah, I know what that is, but I mean, come on, there's other ways to get PR.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like because the big thing they do is not just the fact that they're doing, you know, some of them do it and they're like, oh, well, our funding goal is only $2,000. Well, then why the hell are you here?
Because why wouldn't they? It's free money. I mean, this is something we've discussed over and over again. I mean, why does Queen do Kickstarters? Because it's free money. You know,
it's free money, but they didn't make it yet. Usually.
Usually. They didn't put all the games together like that. I don't understand what you're saying.
Hey guys, I'm going to bed. So
Aww.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. What's not 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
What's 2 weeks?
I'm traveling for work next week. So.
Oh, that's right. You're going to
Philly.
Yeah. You're not going to Philly.
I thought you were talking like.
I'm landing in Philly, so.
You're going to Tree House.
See, I thought you said 2 weeks. I was like, wait a minute. Origins is 5 weeks from now.
Origins is 5 weeks, so I'll see you in real life in 5 weeks.
That'll be sweet. You said you know all the good places to go eat?
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're all around there.
Yeah, you can't miss a good place to eat there.
I bet you I could.
You could, but it's a nice area. Bring your walking shoes. We'll be walking.
Hey, Barry, bring your cane.
I will. Maybe a scooter.
There you go.
Like a Luke Games.
No, you know, that's another thing, too. I didn't see there were no scooters, no hover-rounds, nothing like that anywhere. Oh, and you know what the other cool thing about Japan was? I was walking around and like every single sidewalk, it seemed like, in every single road, they had this strip of yellow that had these bumps on them. It was about maybe a foot, maybe 16 inches wide, and it was always like near the sidewalk or on the sidewalk, and it had these bumps on it. And so like when we were walking, you'd hit that and you'd be like, ow, you know, just kind of it was a different texture. And I saw these things for like inside the subway stations, everywhere you saw this thing. And I finally asked Michael, I said, what is up with that strip? Well, the Japanese people, they live so long. They have like the highest concentration of people that have poor eyesight and lose their vision. And so that's put on there so people that can't see very well will know that they are walking in the right direction. And so it turns like in different places, and so then they know they aren't going to like they don't get lost. Right. I was just like, how ingenious is that? I was just like, that's really cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like it's one of those things that they just have there. That's just cool that they do those things. So I don't know. There you go.
Cool.
Right, Keith, let me know what you're doing. Maybe I'll drive up there. We'll or something.
I'm there. I've got work stuff Wednesday night.
Are you sure your chair won't miss you, Barry, if you leave?
What are you talking about? I just
He's got it on wheels.
5 days.
I'm worried about the chair. You know,
It's okay.
Okay.
The chair could go into withdrawal. So.
I text it pictures every once in a while.
Well, and hopefully this time when I'm flying, the guy sitting next to me on the plane won't bitch about sitting next to the fat ass. So, which happened to me the last time I was flying. So, you know.
You know what? I mean, that's
Hey, it made me lose 98 pounds. So, there you go.
I would
You are
have.
flying in the Philly, Keith. Do you realize this?
True.
But all right, man. You get some sleep. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Good night.
Night.
Hey, Anthony, do you have any axes to grind? I haven't heard you really have an axe to grind lately.
No, everything's great.
No, everything's fine. Everything's super. Everything's awesome.
No, not really axe grind. I'm in this like math trade on BGG that is like killing me because there's like 3,700 items in the math trade and only 3,622 of them loaded into the OLWG thing.
Yeah.
And they can't get it. They can't get it to work. So it was supposed to get our wants in on Mondays. I was hoping to know by now, like what I was getting, but I'm still waiting for them to fix it.
What's up with that? It's just
So,
whatever it is.
there's apparently a known glitch that doesn't happen all the time, but it happens every so often. But they're waiting to get a response back from Jeff, who created the thing. But he hasn't responded yet, and I know not that long ago Jeff wasn't going to do any other like enhancements and stuff on it. But I thought he'd still be around to do support kind of stuff when he could. But we're still waiting to figure out what the hell's going on with this thing.
Jeffy Jeff, the self-appointed admin of the Hot Deals page.
I guess.
He tends to if people post things that might not possibly be in the correct location or whatever, he tends to jump on that on occasion. He's one of the few people on BGG that he and I have actually like butted heads, and he's actually gotten me out of my Minnesota Nice, which kudos to him for pulling it off, I guess. But
I like that guy. It takes me a long time to get you out of Minnesota Nice.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like a difference of opinion. So we'll just leave it at that. And I'm sure all of us left the situation a better person, and with a deeper and better understanding of each other. So I'll leave it at that.
All right, Lance, I want to know, did you, I haven't opened the page yet, and I'm just went to Kickstarter to see what new projects launched. Did you happen to do a review for Smash That Shit?
No, what? No, I did not. I did not do that.
No, here's the tagline. It's a ridiculous card game where you build your weapon and smash your way through a dungeon master story and look sexy doing it.
Ooh.
They're 47% funded already. They have apparently a $1,000 stretch goal, $1,000 funding goal here.
I can't believe that it hasn't become even huger than what it already is.
I don't know. It's just who wouldn't want to smash that shit? They should do a tie-in with the people who did the toilet game.
Yes, there you go. Should. I agree. They should do that. No, wait. You just cruise Kickstarter looking for crazy.
I go on Kickstarter every day, a couple times a day, just to look at stuff because I think it's just funny.
It makes you happy.
I just like looking at things. Like there's a new Mafia game launched today from Sweden that looked okay. It has a really ridiculously stupid name, but it's called Mobster Metropolis.
Okay.
That's the one thing about I can always say mafia games, mafia themed games, I'm all for. There are just so few names to use that people just start making up ridiculous things. Like there was one that just finished and didn't fund it, didn't do very well, but it looked interesting, and it was called Bullets, Bucks, and Flowers. And I was like, wow, that's a really crappy name. It looked really interesting. It looked cool, but it was like the worst name. I was like, okay. But
So, what's the best Mafia game out there, in your opinion, right now?
best Mafia game out there.
Can I answer the question too, or
Yeah.
Let me think for a moment here. I really liked Nostra City back in the day. You can
Nostra City is a good one.
You can find a used copy for like $1 now. It seems like. I really like Mob Ties. That now it's like next to impossible to find, but and we've talked about this before. It's just I thought that was a very good game. Bootleggers is good, but it's a little dated now.
I still like Bootleggers. I don't like the expansion, but I like Bootleggers.
Yeah, Bootleggers is a good game.
I like Nothing Personal.
It is. It's a very good game. I don't think it's truly a mob game. I mean, it's a weird kind of.
Mob games in general, though, are just very odd in general because no one can ever really capture the feel of a mob game. That's why the Godfather one that's coming out sounds like it may actually do it.
Well, I mean, Mafia de Cuba kind of did, because like it depends on everybody had to kind of get into their character, It's like, what have I done to have you steal from me like this?
But the thing about it is a lot of I used to play a lot of like those MMO Mafia games online.
Yep.
And the problem with those is they're very, very big on killing other people. And yes, the Mafia is famous for killing other people.
Take the gun, leave the gun. No, take the controller, leave the gun.
It's such a small part of what makes the Mafia. But that's the part that most games end up being about. And that's the thing that drives me crazy. There's very few games that do the other stuff. There was a game, I have a copy right here, called Mafia City that never made it here to the U.S. That's a really good game. Again, it doesn't capture everything. Captures enough to make it good. But like, what was the one from was it Mayfair or Rio Grande Gangsters?
Yep, I remember that one.
Where you basically have to drive people to the dock and throw them in the river.
What was? I can't remember the game. It was like a map of New York City and
Blood Feud in New York.
What?
Blood Feud in New York.
There you go, Blood Feud New York, and wasn't that just a big dice fest basically?
Yeah, with the guy who looked like Frank Sinatra on the cover.
Yeah, there you go. That was just a big like I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna shoot all your guys.
It was a big, gigantic, huge, humongous box.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a copy of that.
It's worth owning, in my opinion.
I actually have 2 copies of it because it has some very cool bits in it.
Even though it isn't technically a Mafia game, I would say that the Gale Force 9 Sons of Anarchy has very good mob elements to it. As far as the way that game runs and the way it works.
Yeah, so that Bullets, Bucks, and Flowers one was really interesting looking. I mean, what's really cool is they had the game, and it's a map of Chicago, and you're building up syndicates and stuff, and you have like tiles that represent different buildings that you're building out on the board, and they actually had, I don't know if it was going to be a stretch goal or what, where they actually had fold up 3D buildings.
Oh.
That looked they were done in the old 1920s style of building that you'd have at the time. They looked really, really cool. But like that name is just horrible.
Man, I'm looking at the board for Blood Feud in New York. I want to play this again. And I remember not having a ton of fun playing it, but I really want to play it again now. Just the whole map of the city and putting everything down and
it's got like the limousines and the little helicopters and the little
the buildings and like the boats and everything. It's definitely a throwback. I mean, you could not publish this game now. I mean, people would just feel like this is ridiculous. But definitely back in the day, this was. Yeah, now I want to play this again. Huh? Interesting. Good stuff.
Now, what do you think about the other two Godfather games?
I have one of them.
The
other
Devil
one, the first one is basically it's Mafia.
Hey, I remember
a couple of different changes in it.
I remember you tweeting pretty excitedly when you saw that FFG was publishing a Mafia game, and you were all like, "Yes, awesome, yeah."
And then I saw what it was. I was like, "Oh man." The IDW one, the Godfather one, is basically it's Mafia Werewolf. It's got a couple little tweaks. It does have some of the most beautiful artwork in it, though. So, yeah, I'd rather play that over Werewolf any day of the week.
I saw so many people playing Werewolf or iterations of Werewolf in Japan. That game is huge. People love that game. I guess anything that has interaction, that has discussions and things like that. That's it was pretty. It was very, very popular, and it was just like and there were multiple copies of the exact same game, but just different artwork. So, but pretty cool.
You ever played Corruption?
Maybe, I don't know.
Small card game from the Brunos. Because that's apparently getting remade.
Really?
With new artwork.
Well, I do like the Brunos.
And that was halfway decent. Like Family Business is halfway decent. Not really a mafia game. It's just hard to do. It's hard to capture the feel of it.
Yeah, it's mostly just throwing it's not a mafia game. It's just like it's a game that has a mafia theme, but people can still kind of buy into it though.
Somewhere over here, I have the prototype for my mafia game, but I never finished. But
I bet it's amazing.
It actually was. I stopped working on it because it was a deck builder game, and those kind of like got old really quick. But oh yeah,
What?
Hang on a minute.
When did this happen?
It happened fairly quickly. So yeah, it's So yeah, look, here's my prototype board. Here's the main cardboard, and then here is the dock board. And then here are the other buildings.
Did that say Doc Dick or what? That's Doc Deck or Doc?
Dock Deck. So basically,
okay, it's like what?
So basically, as far as the deck building portion went, it went the city board, which was this. The spaces for the cars were pretty much like your Dominion style thing, where they were preset those decks ahead of time. But the dock deck of cards came in on the dock. It's kind of like the Ascension deck building. So you had like stuff you knew was going to always be available, and stuff that you didn't know was coming in off the dock. People to add to your family or goods and all those things. And then each player has a tableau where they're building their syndicate, and you can actually attack each other. And when you play the cards in the Syndicate, all of the cards had you could play them for what they were. So, like, if it was goods, you can keep goods in there. At the end of the game, you get points based on how much you had in there. Or you could play them for, if they were, mobsters, you could play them as extra guns in there. And this way, when people attacked, you could see how much protection someone had. So you kind of prevent someone from trying to attack you. But you could also hide extra guns in there. So it was kind of like you want to try to take people out. But the other thing is, as you took people out, you could also have dirty cops. So if you did and you raided someone's syndicate place, a portion of their cards would actually go to the police station, and then people could actually use other cards they had to go and get to bail your guys out, and they'd become part of their family. So it was a way to keep the cards moving around, so you couldn't just build a hand. Like, there was ways to get rid of cards. Like, obviously, you put cards in a building and let it get attacked, and they get gunned down, and those guys go to the morgue, and that's how they're out of the game. But a lot of stuff going on in it. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll put this away for a while. And it's still away. I may go back to it one day.
I was gonna say, why didn't? What was wrong with it? What was the stumbling block? What was the thing that wasn't able to get over the hump?
It's just a lot when you're dealing with many things that you want them to do. Like, I had all of the rules and everything laid out. It's the whole building of the actual, cards and the balancing. That's the stuff that's a pain in the ass. It takes forever. So someday. Maybe.
Someday. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like everybody's got a game, in the back of their head. I've got 2 or 3. I've still got my weird. Well, both ideas the 2 or 3 ideas that I have had for games, like, eventually games came out that were that mirrored what I wanted to do too well. So it'd be like, oh, well, I can't. If I actually made this, people would say, oh, you're ripping off this, huh? Just like, no. But at this point, I agree with you. It looks like I am. So, I mean, what do you do, It's just like, me and a couple of my friends, we had a pretty good, area control game about summoning different creatures to fight for you and taking over different. We had hexes and land, and you had resources and things like that. Then then I realized that we had a game. It was very functional, but it was so just like everything else that was out there about. Oh, okay, you take over this land and it gives you this resource, and then you collect those resources, and then you turn those resources into this, and it's just I'm like, this is basically Axis and Allies with, hexes and a random map. It's just so there's nothing to it. There was just nothing. It was all right. We could play it and have fun with it, but there was nothing good. It was it's theoretically if I found somebody to make me over the top awesome sculpts for all the monsters and was able to overproduce the crap out of it, theoretically you could make some money at it, but it wasn't really. It needed so much more, to make it an actual game. And then we had our idea for, you're in the one town and basically you need to make it that's full of zombies, and they're gonna drop a nuke on the city to Agent Zero kind of thing, so they could wipe out the zombies and don't have to worry about it.
Hey, Lance.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
You sure can. I'm sure this is gonna dazzle me with whatever.
No. I know I'm so gorgeous to look at, but I'm the only person they're seeing on the screen.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go ahead and click that off then. No. So anyway, yeah. So it was just like that, and we had that idea, and then the whole process that you'd walk from that location, and you're trying to make it to the helicopter pads in time to escape. and we had this idea of fighting zombies, and if you got bit, would it actually infect you, and all these ideas that we had, and but then again, then all these other games came out that kind of like took some of those ideas that we had, and and made it better, you know. And then we had another game where we called it Kobold Kings, and like each person was a Kobold King, and you'd like recruit all these kobolds and and basically like fling them at these different missions and just not caring if they die or got killed, because you could always just have more kobolds. And so like we had this, and that was actually probably the most refined of all the games. And but then I forget what game came out, something like that, like some sort of like Goblins game or something, where you just basically threw all your minions at all these different problems and laughed at their misfortune, and it was just kind of like, oh well.
Yeah, I've got 3 others that are in various stages of done.
Hey, pay me $15. Let you out of the bet right now.
No,
You're gonna
we played like shit for a week and a half, and we're still 6 games up on you.
Yeah, that's 6 games, man. When you realize that you are, in September, when you're handing me a $20 bill, you're gonna remember this moment, and you're gonna say, I could have saved myself $5. So,
Ain't happening.
hedge my bets though. I'll fully admit, because after the first 2 weeks of the season, I told all my friends, I said, right now I'll accept anybody's $20 bet that the Golden State Warriors will have more wins than the Minnesota Twins will this year. And I don't think they're going to get to 74. I'm just going to say that right now. My hope is not so much that the Twins are going to turn around and have a bunch of wins. It's that the Tigers are going to fall apart, and they'll eventually be worse. So
Yeah, we just lost 6 out of the last 7.
well, we've lost 8 of the last 8. So
Yeah.
they're so bad. Oh my gosh, the Twins are so bad.
Well, I mean, we lost tonight to Scherzer, struck out 20 guys. So he tied Clemens for the most strikeouts in a single game. So
Really? Well,
yeah,
that's something.
He was pretty nasty.
Well, I mean, that's something to be proud of, though, right?
What, that we were the team that he did it against?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I remember when I collected baseball cards, I'd always be like looking through baseball cards, and then I get one that says, had 7 RBIs in game on 6/4/86 versus Twins. Pitched no hitter on 7/4. 05 versus Twins. It was like everything was against the Twins whenever I looked through. It's like, yes.
I'm sorry, we're 7 games up on you.
Well, you know what? That's why you play every game, okay? And like I said, you are going to be sad when you realize that you could have saved yourself some money when
That's
you're
all right.
handing me $20 American.
How strange is it that the Cubs and the White Sox are the best 2 teams in baseball?
That is strange. And it would seem fitting if they both went to the World Series and the Cubs lost to the White Sox. So,
And the Mets have the most home runs in baseball.
well,
It's like Bizarro World.
it is Bizarro World. Totally Bizarro World. Hold on, my daughter just woke up, and I'm going to have to tell her to go back to bed.
Oh, so Brandon just had to point out that Scherzer owned the Kitties tonight. Yeah, how are your Royals doing there, jerkface? And Paul, no flick 'em up Mafia game.
Why not?
Because it'll be flick 'em up. It's the same fucking game.
You don't like Flick 'em Up?
See, flick 'em up is perfectly fine. We don't need to retheme it to something else. It's going to be the same game.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, has anybody got the Flick 'em Up expansion? I haven't got the Flick 'em Up expansion.
It was on sale yesterday.
I almost got it. I was just like, whatever. I can wait. I think they printed way too many of those, so it's definitely one of those where I can hold off a little bit, in my opinion.
I'm waiting for the cheaper plastic version.
Seriously?
No.
Because I don't think they're making a cheaper plastic version.
No, they are.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's a lot of money, so they're going to make a version with plastic pieces instead of all the wood. So it costs them less, so they can charge less.
Oh, I guess fair enough, but what do you do there? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just
Well,
telling
why
you.
would you want to play with plastic? It'll be all clicky instead of clunky, you know?
Maybe I like clicky.
No, you don't. If you had a choice between having the nice wood components or non, I mean, it's just like it's no question.
Oh, I mean they're redoing it, and I don't think everything's going to be plastic, but where they can change stuff to plastic, like obviously the stuff you're flicking is still going to be wood because you can't really flick plastic discs. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the game that doesn't have to be wood that is.
Fair enough. I just that's a cool model that they're using. This whole like attitude that they're going to make these all big giant wood games with all these. What's their game that they're coming out with at Gen Con this year?
Junk art?
Yeah, Junk Art. There you go. That looks neat.
That's from the Bamboozle Brothers. Sen and Jay.
Oh yes, should I know them?
I know you do. That's why I mentioned them.
Okay.
It wasn't his name dropping.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to think. Dang it. It's something I was going to talk about, and I can't remember what it was now.
Was it
Give me a second.
Pandemic Iberia?
How many copies of that are they going to sell?
How many people live in Iberia?
You know that's going to sell a ton of copies. People are just
Of
going to
course
be
it
like,
is.
because it's going to have Pandemic on it. And I mean, what are they changing anything other than just changing what the?
It's got trains in it.
Oh well, great. Instead of taking a plane and flying from one spot to another, for some reason, I don't know. Good for them. Hold on
Did
one
you
second.
tuck her in like a couple hours ago?
Yeah, I did. She gets up and wanders around the house and tries to scare me. I'm gonna go tuck her in again. Hold on.
All right. So Barry, how was your trip?
It was all right.
What'd you do?
I had to go down the shore. I have a place down the shore in Cape May County, Jersey.
Oh, that's good.
I
You're
know.
eating cheesecake in front of me. Good.
Yeah. It's the first sweet I had all week. Been cutting back on sugar. But yeah, I opened the place up. The roof leaked over the winter, so cleaned up mold all weekend.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I did try to get up on the roof. I couldn't. So I had to get somebody out to muck it.
What do you have, like a bungalow or?
I'm in a campground down there. I have a double wide trailer basically.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, and I knew I had to replace the screen porch roof this year. They had this funny law where you had to take the roof off every year. It was some fire code down there, but they changed it. But we had the corrugated metal roofing, and that's corroding through with the salt air and all. So I knew I got to replace that. But I wasn't expecting this leak inside the place.
What? Who called the police?
Cleaning up after that. Nobody.
We're talking about Barry's summer place almost washing away.
Yeah,
Your summer place?
it didn't wash away.
Oh, hey, I like doing this. Everybody go to their Kickstarter page, and what are you backing right now that you haven't collected?
Same as last week.
Salem?
Hey, they're going to have copies of that at Origins.
No, really?
That's what I saw in an email from Passport today. They're going to have copies of Salem and that Simurgh game. What's Simurgh?
It's from NSCAN.
What?
It's from NSKN.
Okay, well, what is it?
The game about a dragon.
Educate me on it.
Okay, hold on.
No, do not go to the page and read off the paragraphs. Anybody can do that. Do you know
I'm not
anything
gonna-
about
I'm
it?
trying to remember. This was on Kickstarter a while ago. No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay. Well,
NSKN, I know that.
it looks like each person, you have a powerful clan, and you have...
Don't read off the page.
Well, no, it looks like you
Anybody can do that.
breed dragons, and then you create the board. Like
I knew it was about dragons.
action tiles. It might be good. I don't know. NSKN, like I said, they have one of my absolute favorite games, so I will always give them a pass. I was not super excited with Mistfall, though. It was, I don't know. It was a game. I'll give it that.
People seem to like it because the Kickstarter
Freaking
funded
space on it, yeah.
20 minutes.
Oh yeah. I mean, people seem to like it, but I can have a differing opinion, of course.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
You're the
Usually
voice of the people.
Yes, I am. I am the voice of the people. Uh,
The people. Are you talking about the same Salem that Andy backed, or that other Salem? Being at Oregon.
No, this game we saw. Yeah, that's Salem.
the Salem that's 3 years old or whatever it is, that
Okay.
you're all still waiting for it. Or
Yeah, with the cheaples.
the the cheapos.
That's what someone dubbed them, and I like the name.
All right,
So-
so everybody go to your Kickstarter page, and what is the oldest Kickstarter you have besides Salem that you're still waiting on?
And beside the rest of my Shadows of Brimstone,
Yes, besides the rest of your Shadows of Brimstone, what is the oldest one that you're still waiting on?
hang on.
Still Scythe.
There's a few copies of that rolling around in the world though.
The preview, or the advanced copies, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rodney has one.
No
Joel?
way.
Did Joel? Yeah, a couple of reviewers did. I don't remember.
I bet you Joel got one. Him and
Yeah,
him
I
and
think
Scott.
Tom did too.
And I know Board Game Brawl got one. So.
and Dan King.
Heh.
And somebody with a more popular podcast.
Yeah. They have
Yeah,
8%.
Well, sorry, he said bigger
followers.
podcast. Anyway.
Well, it's all right. Whatever.
Mine is still my Myth Journeyman pledge.
Mine's actually good. My last one I'm waiting for is other than those two, is the others.
The other.
But man, I'm looking at this now. There's a lot that I have on here that has not. I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on a lot. I didn't realize I had backed all this. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm waiting on the others, the Gallerist, and Coliseum Emperor's Edition.
The Gallerist. You still don't have the Gallerist?
I'm Vinos Deluxe.
Yeah. So this is what I'm looking at. Okay, Myth Journeyman, which is what they aren't. They're expecting June. The estimated delivery is June 2016, so I can't really be upset about that one. Though I don't think they're going to meet June 2016. I don't think there's any chance of that. Going forth, I have Mare Nostrum. They predicted November 2015. They are obviously past due on that one.
Yes.
I have my Reaper Bones, which was, and you're still allowed to go back into the Pledge Manager right now, and you can still purchase more if you want. We got an email letting us know, but they're finally going to cut that off in June, finally. They're saying August. I don't think they're going to make that. New Bedford. They're obviously past due. They thought March would be the time for that. Sword and Sorcery, October 2016. Secret Hitler, April of 2016, but obviously that didn't happen. Though I did read one thing. He sent out an update for Secret Hitler, and the whole like wooden box and everything that they had. So two things I realized about this. First of all, one is that the person that's running the Secret Hitler, they said that this game is going to have it's going to be the best quality board game that has ever come out. Meaning that the components, the cards, the box, everything is going to be so good, nothing else is going to compare to how well they've put this particular game together. And two things about that. One, that seems like hyperbole. I mean, just totally. And two, it's like maybe I don't get the impression that like they've been in the industry long enough to make that kind of a statement. When yes, they've made tons of money doing Cards Against Humanity, but they that's just a box with some cards in it. Whereas this is like they're saying that this is like because they're making a wooden box and all these other things that they're going to make it with. So I don't know. I'm questioning it just a little bit. But the second thing I realized is that I'm getting this one of the things you get with it is you get this Cards Against Humanity fascism extra cards or whatever, and that's the only way you could get those cards is if you back this Kickstarter, and now you can't get them anymore. And people are saying you're going to be able to sell that little deck of cards for probably $50 anyway. So I mean, I might be able to sell that. Though I don't know. Do you have any like Cards Against Humanity, like big time people that love the game or anything like that?
My wife.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
My son plays it with his friends, but
Fair enough.
my oldest son,
Oh,
my adult son,
your adult son. How old is your adult son?
he'll be 22 in August.
Jeez, you started early. Karmaka, the tactical card game for 2 to 4 souls. That's November. Mahola, that's on August 2016. Nemo's War. Venus Deluxe. Manhattan Project Chain Reaction card game. Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting. Explorers of the North Sea. Neolithic. In the Name of Odin. Masmora, which we're still waiting for the pledge manager for that, which I don't know why they haven't put that out yet. End of the Line. Seventh Sea. My Lazy Gamer Table.
Look at you, Rockefeller, over there.
Really?
Battleborn Legacy. Fog of Love. I'll play it with my wife. And Rum and Bones, Second Tide. Which, the weird thing about that is, I got that because they revamped everything. It basically makes Rum and Bones, like the first edition stuff I have, like better, I guess, in some way. So it's like, but you have to, I don't know, it just seemed like this was an easy way to get everything. And then the Stockpile expansion. And I've pledged to back the Gaming Canopy, but that's over here in 8 days, and I'm considering dropping my pledge on that. I don't know.
Yeah, right now I'm in on the Hold the Line remastered edition.
Hold the Line, what?
Yeah, Hold the Line from Worthington.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they remastered it to have these little plastic minis in it now instead of whatever they had previously. I don't know if they had chits or whatever. But this thing's like, I don't know. I thought this had raised more at some point. So they wanted $20,000 for it. Right now they're at $49,800 with 4 days to go. But I could have sworn they had hit more than one stretch goal. And the funny thing about this is I'm probably going to end up canceling my pledge because Matt from my show also backed it. And not for anything else, but I really looked at it and said, hey, you know what? I'll back the game. It looks like a decent game. People who play the original like it. And I said, and then if nothing else, I can use all of these plastic minis that are in it in my copy of Live or Death.
No, that's true.
Because it has pretty much everything I need. But they also had added it as an add-on. So if you had the original and you wanted to upgrade, you can just do it. You pledge for whatever, and then do the add-on for for another set of minis.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna probably just drop my pledge and give Matt the money to get me the minis. I mean, they're not cheap either. I mean, it's $115 for the game with all the minis. It's the game plus the French and Indian War expansion, and then all the minis from both.
Okay.
Are they
if you
doing
want-
any exclusives on it?
No.
See, I mean, I'm such a horrible person. This is where I'm like, why wouldn't I just wait? Oh, if they get to 75,000 set of Hessian soldiers, and you can put the one set of 20 exclusive soldiers that they reach 75K
Yeah. But
in
they're
the
not gonna-
last 4 days.
Yeah. So basically, no. So what they reached so far is they, because the thing about this is if you have the original one, this one had all new scenarios in it. So the first stretch goal was to get the original 13 scenarios included in the game. And then the second stretch goal was to get these 2 Mega Hex game pieces. I mean, they got to that, but there was some other Mega Hex game piece things for the game, and then after that, the Hessians would be cool to have, but so I'm like,
Well, that's one of those things where, and I'm not, and obviously I'm not, I don't know how it works, and I don't know what they're trying to do, but wouldn't you put like the Hessians at 50,000? Because we all know that the moment you say exclusive, people are like, oh my gosh, I got it back or I'll never get it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even at the 115 price, based on what the original games went for, getting the game and the French Indian War expansion was sort of worth it, but now it's kind of like, So the the add-ons, so you can get all of the plastic game pieces that come in it for $35. So you know what? For $35 to get the things I need for the other game, that's perfectly fine.
And the minis are fine. I mean, they're not.
Oh, actually, sorry, it's $55 it'll cost because it's $35 for the American and British pieces, and then another $20 for the French and Indian pieces. So it's $55. It's still not cheap, but they're going to sell those on the aftermarket anyway also. So who knows? Maybe I'll just wait and get them on CSI or something. But
I got you. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I remember playing actually like the original Hold the Line, years ago. A buddy of mine had a copy. I enjoyed it, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this would be cool to have, and then maybe I'll play it once in 5 years.
yeah, and I threw a few bucks at Chris Peach's project.
Legends of the Mist, that's a good game.
And then I have like 4 other ones that are on the 48-hour notification.
Where's Chris tonight? I'm not seeing him in our conversation at all. Look at that. He played the long con. He hung out. He pretended to be a friend of the show.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he got his review out of me, then he vanished.
Yeah. At some point, Kabuki Kid will launch a Kickstarter, and then we won't see her anymore either.
That's the end there.
Very nice.
Kabuki Kid's now our most loyal watcher. I think she has surpassed Paul and Chris.
Very nice. And apparently, Mahola, I should have gotten my copy. Maybe I got to send them an angry mail and say, "Hey, where's my copy?"
That's the one with the Indian dancing, right?
Yes.
With the really nice artwork with the sort of play.
Paul Tompkins, I am in for the long haul. No, I've got Mahola just to give to my dad, just because he's, as I've said before, he's a really big fan of the Native American culture.
Oh yeah, the artwork is pretty big. I haven't heard bad things about the game. I just heard it's kind of but yeah. Your dad?
Yeah, my dad.
The artwork's awesome. So
he's big into whenever he travels down to his place in Arizona, his condo in Arizona during the winter. He never flies. He drives because he wants to stop at all these different Native American locations and just kind of walk around and and go hiking and look for arrowheads and things like that. So
Very cool.
yeah.
So, I have the 48-hour notifications on this War of Mine.
Yeah, that's my I played the
Video game?
video game, and it was cool and it was fun. It definitely made you think, but then like it wasn't. Hold on a second. I didn't want to cough in your ear. Here's the weird thing. So like sandbox video games have totally ruined me because it's like I don't want to play a game unless I can just go and do whatever I want. I want to be able to just if I don't want to follow your quest and I just want to go off into the wilderness in like Far Cry and just hunt animals for an hour and collect the skins and make stuff, I want to have that option. When I play like Grand Theft Auto, I want to just forget about the main quest for a while and just drive a car around and start shooting people and stuff like that. I just want to do other things. And so if I have a game that doesn't allow me just to kind of do whatever I want, then it kind of bugs me in a level, and I understand that there's people that want that linear gameplay. It's like the newest game in the What's His Face series just came out, number 4. I can't even think of it, like A Thief's End, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Assassin's Creed?
Uncharted.
Okay.
And those are fantastic games. Great storylines, great voice acting. Very good when you're playing it. It's like the everything about it is fluid and really nice, but it isn't really sandbox. It's like it's fairly linear. I mean, maybe this most recent one is. I haven't really looked into it. I've played all the other ones in the line. They're interesting, but ultimately it's just like I feel like I said, it's very linear. It's like you need to go from this part to this part and survive kind of thing. So this War of Mine, for those of you who don't know anything about it, I mean, it's basically like you are in unnamed country that is currently at war, and you're living in your little house that you see a side of it, and then you have you and the other survivors or whatever, and you have to, like, during the day, you can't go out during the day because there's snipers and you'll just get shot. So during the day you have to, like, basically fix your house up, like, try to, make sure you have electricity, try to make sure you have a place to sleep, try to just make sure you have, like, the things that you need to survive, and, like, you have to combat being bored, you have to combat being depressed, like if you're getting sick, all kinds of things like that. And then, like, when night comes, you can send one of your people out to go and forage for supplies, and basically you have to pick, like, a location, like a house or a supermarket or whatever, and, like, these things that are, like, and basically go looting. And so it pits you with some, like, very distinct decisions. Like at one point there's this one where you get to this house that has, like, tons of food and tons of medical supplies, but the people that live there are like an elderly couple, and if you take this stuff, they're probably going to die. So it doesn't stop you. There's no it doesn't make it so, like, you can't do it. You can definitely do it, but it's totally up to you as the player, that, like, as a person, even though it's a virtual person, would you steal all of the food that these old people have, just so you could survive, and you basically doom them. And so it, like, has those kinds of decisions. Like, you will run into a point where, like, you need food and you have to break into somebody's house, and then they will attack you, and it's just like, oh well, it's like, I'm at fault here because I'm breaking into your house to steal your food, but then you end up killing them, and then, like, that person that ends up taking that person's life, like, goes back to the house, and, like, they are so their morale is so low they can't do anything because they've ended up taking another person's life and they're like permanently affected. And so there's stuff like that that's cool about it, but once again, it's not really sandboxy. It's just a series of little vignettes, where you're just kind of going through like these different options, and then it's just and it's more of like a social experiment type of game where it's just like you're kind of experiencing it, and just like, and then you're supposed to reflect on it and whatever. So I mean, I don't know. And then you look at the game and it's just like a giant pile of tokens and plastic and I don't know. I don't think it'll have the same effect as the poignancy, if you will, of the game that you can play on Steam.
All right, well, that's why I'm watching it. I'm also watching Anachrony.
Okay.
It's from the same people who did Tricarion,
which I thought was good, but not like knock my socks off good.
Oh, okay.
Well, what did you think of Tricarion?
I love Tricarion.
All right, fair enough.
And then Virus.
Okay.
You see that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Let's see. I have one other. I'm sorry. I have to look because they don't pull up a list of what you're watching. Talk amongst yourselves.
We will.
I'll give you a topic. Corn nuts are neither a corn nor a nut. Discuss. What else am I back? Oh, what else am I watching? There's another one.
It is another one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little up in the air as far as I mean, this War of Mine. I don't know. It just to me the board game will kind of, in my opinion, will just become. It won't be as thematic as the actual like RPG thing. Yes, there's gonna be the little like journal that you read, and you like will read off the like experience or whatever that you have, and you'll have to make up a decision as far as the whatever that you experience. But I don't know. Eventually, you're gonna run out of those, right? You're gonna run out of like the experiences or whatever. My opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
What's odd is they sent out 50 copies to people to review, and I have not seen one review of it.
Rahdo has one out. I know that.
Well, I know Rahdo did, but they sent out 50 of them.
50?
That's what it says on the Kickstarter page. That they sent out 50. I may be misquoting, but I could have sworn it said 50.
Well, how many of those do you think went to like video game reviewers?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say a fair number.
I don't know. Hold on. I'm interested in the game for the simple fact that the designer.
To confirm it, we have sent out 50 prototypes to various reviewers across the globe, and during the Kickstarter, we will post the feedback for you to see. Yeah.
So out of 50, you got to figure at least a dozen of them are people here. Well, not counting Rahdo.
Yeah.
King, more prominent podcasts.
I think that well, it was interesting. And it reminds me of I went to when I was in Japan. There was like a very scant few people there that were not Asian that were showing off games, and there was one gentleman that was, and he was English, but was living in Japan, and he showed me this game that he had that was it was like Blood and Iron, I think it was called, and it was actually pretty cool. Basically, you had a hand, if I remember correctly, either 6 or 8 cards, and 2 of the cards had a number 2 on them, and the other cards had just a 1 on them. I think it was 6 cards total. So you had 4 cards with a 1 and 2 cards with a 2. And so on your turn, you had to select 2 cards and then hand them to somebody. And they had to look at the 2 cards that you gave them, and they'd give you 1 back. That was all you did on your turn. Now, what you were trying to do was that you wanted, and the only way you got to put cards down in front of you is if people gave you cards. So and then at the end of the turn, you wanted to have the most number of cards that were in front of you. But the trick is that you also, whatever color you had that were on everybody else's in front of them, you also got the points for your color. But so you're thinking, okay, well, so what's the hook? What's the change? If you had more than 1 card in front of you that had a 2, only the card, because you laid them out in a row, only the 2 that was furthest to the right got counted. So you were trying to make sure that you got your card, like with a 2, behind everybody else's 2 in front of it. And and there was other things as well, as far as like there were special player powers that you have, and then like depending upon how well you scored the round before, you'd have a special power and all these other things. And you played, I think it was like you played 5 rounds or 4 rounds, and you just kept a running score, and whoever ended up with the most score won. But it was rather ingenious. But anyway, so this guy, like he had gone through Kickstarter and he had got his game published, and he had just recently got all of his copies, and then he sent them out to fulfillment backers, and he said, I contacted you about you doing a review of my game, and I said, dude, I don't, you probably did. I probably saw your email. I totally forgot about it. I apologize. And he said, no, I sent you a BGG mail, and I was like, well, I rarely, if ever, check those, so sorry, just like I probably never saw it, and but and then I sat down and I played it, and he said himself, he's like, yeah, I have sent out like 50 copies to people for them to look at the game and review it, and he's gotten 0 reviews so far of the game, and he sent them off like 3 weeks ago, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. What's the deal with that? I mean, it's just, I don't know. And I can understand if like you sent out like copies of a game that had like a ton of rules and a ton of things going on, and like made for like a very difficult game to do a review of. But that was a really, really simple, straightforward kind of subterfuge, for impart your will on somebody else type of game. Not a lot of rules, very easy to do, but he just didn't have any reviews out there.
What's this game called?
I have to go and find it because I have a copy of it now. Like Blood and Iron or something. I don't know. Hold on. My cat's on me now. I don't know if I can get up. Oh, hello, kitty.
Blood and Iron from 1993.
No, it's not that one. It's Blood and something. It isn't Blood Feud New York. I'll tell you that.
Blood Rage?
It is not Blood Rage either. I'm gonna have to get up. It is not Bloodbound. It is not Blood Bowl.
There Will Be Blood?
No. I'm still waiting for...
First Blood?
No, it's not Blood and... First Blood? Like the... movie?
Blood and Roses?
Blood
and Sand?
I want to see... I'm waiting very patiently for the Blood Bowl reprint to come out in 2017. Hold on a second. I'll go grab my copy.
Wait, Barry, how much you want to bet Blood isn't even in the title?
Yeah.
Because I'm like looking at every game that has blood. I can't find anything from the past couple of years that.
We are talking about Lance. Steel might be in the title. Is that what he said? Blood and Steel? Was that the
Blood and Iron, Blood and something.
Iron might be in there.
This is riveting radio.
Riveting.
I'm on the second page of stuff that with blood in the name, and it still isn't coming up. Bloodfall, The Last Days. No, that's not it.
Blood and Fortune.
Blood and Fortune. Oh, I just finally got to it. Blood and Fortune. Let's see. Blood and Fortune. It has a geek rating of 5.9 with 5 ratings.
Wow.
Exists Games with a 1 instead of a I.
Yeah. It was Charles Ward is the designer, and he's the guy who showed me how to play. And I played it with some Japanese gentlemen who all spoke the same language, and I did not speak their language, and they trounced me because the game is about negotiation and being able to discuss things with other people and try to convince them to give you certain cards or convince cards to be given to somebody else. And so since I couldn't discuss anything with anyone, I usually got I got the worst of it. If you
Nope. There's a review on BGG from a month ago. It gives it an 8 out of 10.
There you go.
The artwork is nice.
The artwork is really nice. Here, if I can open up my copy, because I haven't been able to go through my stuff yet. Hold on. I hate cellophane on cards if it's just sometimes it just won't rip.
So how long do you give people, like they send a review copy to you? How long do you tell them before you can actually get a video? Like a month or a podcast, a month or 2 weeks or what?
Yeah, Anthony, what's your turnaround time for a review if you're going to be doing a review on a podcast?
This is why I don't do Kickstarter reviews normally. Is because I don't do we need this time period, because I'm like, hey, you know what? I get to it. When they ask how long it will take, I'll say probably at least 2 to 3 weeks from the time I get it. But I also have I like to say bad things about games sometimes, but sometimes I just don't want to bother. And I will just message them back and say, hey, you know what? I played it. I really didn't like it. I'm not going to review it. Because the thing is, with the podcast, we only do...
You who also said he wasn't going to do the reviews because he didn't like it?
What?
You who also said he wouldn't do reviews because he didn't like the game?
Well, normally I don't even accept the game.
Jim Fleming.
I know I don't take games unless I have a feeling that I'm going to like the game.
All right.
So I actually got an email from someone else at Tasty Minstrel, asked me to do a review if I wanted a review copy.
I said no.
I said no.
For Scoville Labs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I don't want to, because I've had people ask me, oh, we have this and this and that, and I'm like, no. I said, I'm not your person. Because I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to talk about it.
Did you not like Scoville?
No, I liked it. I got rid of my copy because they only had so much space here.
I could probably get you a copy of the base game if you wanted to take a look at the expansion.
That would be fine. I didn't want to inquire about getting another copy of the base game.
Well, let me. I'll talk to my boss.
Okay, because I have decided that I no longer have a collection. I have a game library.
How could you get rid of Scoville? Scoville's such a good game.
Because I only have room for so many things. So
and
I'm
not saying that because I work for the company. I thought that before I worked for the company.
So right now I'm looking here at my Tasty Minstrel games that I have here. I have Belfort. I have Orleans. I have Gold West. And I have Bomb Squad, which I have not played yet, of my regular size box games. And those I have here. But the other ones that weren't getting played, there's only so much room here. So things had to get moved along. And they did.
Anthony's getting responsible on this. The hell's up with that?
Oh, look at that.
I'm saying it's much easier to deal with. Like the first few days, I was really oh no, but I want this and I want that and I want the other thing. But I've discovered that if I refer to it as my game library, as opposed to my game collection, because I see people constantly buying games at like thrift stores and coming home. Look at all the stuff I got. Like, it's all crap. You got one decent game and the rest is all crap. And I see people on BGG who have these like, their collection is like, everyone I've come across one's got like 3,000 games, and I go and look, and they just have games because they want to have one of everything. And I just don't want to do that anymore. So I want to have games that I like, that are going to get played, and even if they don't get played regularly, I know it's something I want to have in my library. So at some point I can say, hey, maybe someday Lance will come visit, and I can say, hey, Lance, let's play this game because I know you like it, even though nobody else wants to play it. We can play Urban Scroll together. But that's how I want it to be. I don't want to have games here that just sit here that are just okay. I have games that are just middle of the road, not heavy, not deep. You can play. I don't need to have 47 gateway games.
Right.
Here's a gateway game that I think you'll like, even though you don't play games. Oh yeah, you like it, good. And I don't hate playing it.
Hey, what do you guys know about this new Warhammer Quest Silver Tower that they announced?
Not GMT. Games Workshop?
Yeah.
Not much. I just heard they announced it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like they've totally screwed with the setting and stuff like that. So I don't know anything about it either. So I just I saw it and it did not look like the original Warhammer Quest. So I was just like,
wait,
womp womp.
I need to address Kabuki Kid, because Kabuki Kid, she said, review bad games to save some people from getting crappy games. Okay, hold on. Like I said, I don't mind doing it. I really don't. If you know me, you know I don't mind saying something sucks. The problem is, and this is why you will not see a lot of people doing reviews of games they dislike that much. Because if I know the first time I play a game if I like the game. Not if it's a good game necessarily, but I know if I like the game. I may not love the game the first time I play it, and I may look at things and go, you know what, I want to play that again because I think this is a game I will like, and I will play it again. If it's a game right off the bat that I know I do not like, I do not want to have to play it again or play it a third time. And the thing is, it's fine if the game I don't like it and the game takes 15 minutes, I'll play it 4 times. That's an hour out of my life. If the game takes 3 hours to play, I'm not playing it 3 or 4 times.
Right.
I'll just say, hey, you know what? It wasn't for us. And again, there's games that I hate that people love. And so I'm not persuading you to not play a game because the fact that I say the game is horrible and I don't like it. Because there are tons of people who have bought Kingdom Builder and keep buying Kingdom Builder even though that game is trash.
Well, it's sold how many copies, so it can't be complete trash.
No, and I know. And if people who want to play it, that's fine. Play it. But don't try to tell me that it's a great game. It's not. If you like playing it, that's fine. It's like anything else. If you like listening to Justin Bieber, go right ahead.
I love the Anthony. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
Go
fine.
ahead. It's fine.
If you like playing Munchkin, play Munchkin. Don't ask me to play. I won't play with you. Don't try to convince me how great a game it is, because it's not. But if you like playing it, then play it.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You too.
That's as close to Minnesota Knights as I get. There's nothing wrong with you if you play Munchkin.
Like I said, there is a. I don't go to my local game store's open game night as often as I used to, just basically because now it is so packed. It's not fun. I mean, you have to almost yell to hear the other person on the other side of the table because there's just too many people. But back when I used to go, man, there was one table, 8, 9, 10 people every time, every open gaming night. They had every single Munchkin box and every single expansion and everything, and they put them all into one giant mess of cards. One giant, and I hate this expression, but it really was a giant hot mess of cards. And they would sit there and play like epic Munchkin, just like. And I watched them play, and they had a blast. They're laughing and screaming and yelling and just having a great time. And they played it, like, I think it's like, don't you have to get to like level 10 to win or something like that? They played something ridiculous where it's like you had to get to level 50 to win, and it was just, they had all these like little homemade rules that how they did it, and I mean, it was.
Yeah, my sons like it.
Yeah,
my sons like it.
They could. Superheroes, fantasy, space, the Pathfinder. I mean, everything combined together, all into one. Go for it.
Yeah, we actually have. I actually own a Munchkin game. I own the Axe Cop version, and the only reason I own that one is it's a local convention here that they used to come to me with me to, and the guys from Steve Jackson Games, the Men in Black, were always there, and my son Dylan, he's going to be 15 in June, but he was like 8 or 9 when I first started taking him. I would basically dump him off on those guys because he loved playing those games. Like they taught him Frag, and he like demolished all of them in that game. They played Munchkin, they played all of the games, and he liked it. And they got to play the Axe Cop version, and they both loved it. So it was in some math trade or in some auction at some convention I was going to, and it was cheap. But I think it was that guy bought it, and I bought him. So I was like, "You're buying a Munchkin game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm buying it for my kids because my kids like it." But I brought it home. They were all excited. I handed it to them and said, "Here you go. Don't ever ask me to play."
Great parenting there.
Yeah, don't ever expect me to experience this with you, but here you go.
They have games that I've gotten that they really, really like that I'm like, I really don't want to play this ever again. And it leaves the library, and it goes into their room and goes into their closet. Like, if you want to keep this game and play it, go right ahead. Don't ask me to play it. Take it with you. Go put it in your room. It's yours.
Hey, when do you record next for your podcast, Anthony?
Next Tuesday.
You gonna have me on?
No.
Why not?
Because you're going to be on, but not next Tuesday.
Well, why not?
Because before you got there, I didn't need to have you there. I already had people. But you guys are getting a Spotlight episode.
When is this?
It's coming.
Well, can I have a date, or is it just?
You have to ask your wife if you can have a date.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I will, but I don't know why you'd want to come on. Why don't you go on someone's video show? Because only be hitting 7% of the market.
Yes.
Like,
hey, my goal right now is I wanna try to get on as many podcasts as possible. I want to get on and talk about.
You want to be Bonacore?
No, hey, I don't want to be as short as he is, but he's a pretty cool guy. He's a Renaissance man, so I mean, he's definitely got things that I think are pretty cool. But no, I wanna go out and talk about TMG and talk about like the process of where, and then it took me from here to there, and plus there's a lot of stuff I know about what's coming down the pipe with TMG Games and stuff like that, and I want to come on and talk about it and get people excited about the stuff that they're publishing. I'm not trying to be too much of a stooge, but it's actually pretty cool.
Company man.
It's been so long since I've actually been on a plane flight that wasn't just 2 hours or whatever. So when I flew from Minneapolis to Seattle, and then Seattle to Japan, and then from Japan back to Minneapolis, like, I didn't know that, like, if you were on a big plane, like, pretty much everybody has their own little, like, Netflix. I had no idea that you had that, where, like, basically the seat in front of you just is a TV screen, and you can sit there and watch movies. Like, I watched... and not like, I mean, like actual, like, relatively new movies that have recently come out, like Deadpool and like In the Heart of the Sea, and like classics too, like Hoosiers, and I watched The Natural and things like that. It definitely makes the time go by really quick. And it took my mind off the fact that I was flying in a metal tube at 35,000 feet over the water, where I would be smashed into bits and eaten by sharks if the plane ever failed. So
Yeah, if I have to go to India, I get to fly Emirates, and I get the cool bed seat.
No, yeah, I walk those are pretty impressive. I walk by those. They have the little footrest and everything, and man, it is definitely a haves and have-nots on those 777s. The people that have the nice location, you know. They definitely. It was weird on the way back from Minneapolis. Like I got to my seat and people started sitting down next to me, and like one of the attendants walked over to me and he's like, dude, he's like, get up, I got a better spot for you. And he took me over to a side row of two people. He said, I know this isn't taken. This is you. This is all you. So I had like big giant like, I shouldn't say big giant. I didn't have like a 4-spotter, but I had like a 2-spot, you know, in like the not super good class, but like that kind of like slightly upgraded business class, so the seats are bigger. But I had that all to myself, so I was able to kind of curl up and sleep a little bit, and yeah, I used to think that airlines sucked, but man, Delta people took care of me. They were nice people, and they're constantly on those long flights. They're just like, do you need another snack? Do you want water? Do you want a Coke? You know, are you okay? Need anything else? You know.
On the Emirates flight, if you get it, they actually come to you before the plane takes off and take your drink orders.
Nice.
And then as soon as the plane's in the air, they come and bring you your drink.
My dad flies Alaskan Airlines anytime he can, because on Alaskan Airlines, if you want this, I forget what the name of the brewery, but there's this like Alaskan Ale like brewing company, and they have free beer of that type, all you want.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And also there's some Alaskan winery as well, and they have that for you to drink too. It's free. Just go ahead.
But Emirates actually has the double-decker planes.
The 747s?
Yeah, so you actually go downstairs to the bar.
I will say this. So I get on the plane, right, and I'm like, I kind of watch movie, and I'm kind of, you know, fading in and out and just falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep, waking up, and then finally I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I kind of get up, and I'm, and I'm just, it's nighttime now, so all the lights are off. Everybody's like kind of sleeping, or they're watching TV, and I walk over to the one bathroom, and because there's like 4 bathrooms in the middle, and then it was like, oh, you know, this one is occupied. So you kind of walk through this little like hallway to get to the other side, and I see occupied, and oh, this one's unoccupied. So I open it up, and I'm not trying to gross it out, but somebody had too much red wine, and somebody threw up on everything inside there. I was like, oh my god, and it reeked. I just closed it. I was like, that is why that one is unoccupied. So I was just like, so then of course I'm standing there, and it's just like, okay, so do I stand over here by the one spot that's open, waiting for this person to get out, or do I go to the other side and like go for the twofer? And I'm trying to decide, and I was like, I'm like kind of looking back and forth, and so then I go over to the other side, and when I get over there, there's already 2 people standing there waiting to use it. Before, like literally 30 seconds before, nobody was over there. And I was just like, oh man, now I'm like third in the queue. And so then, okay, so I walk back over to the other side, and now there's a person standing there, and I was just like, oh man. So I like kind of stand there, and nobody's coming out. So I walk over to the other side. I was like, well, at least if there's 2, you know, it would like, there'd be a high revolve rate on these at least, you know, so there'd be more being used. And so the door opens up on the one, and then so now I'm second in queue, right? And then like the door opens up in that one again, and the guy in front of me, whatever, goes in. So now I'm next in queue. And mind you, each one of those like stays lasted about 5-6 minutes, and I had to go. I had like a giant thing of water and a Coke, and like I was just like, I really needed to use the bathroom. And I'm standing there, and this one had been occupied like the entire time. It's been like 20-25 minutes this person's been in the bathroom, and I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, whatever. And I'm kind of standing there, and then And I'm standing there, and I'm standing there, and I'm standing there, and there's nobody like else standing up waiting to use the bathroom. And I'm just like, and I hear the door open up on the other side, and I kind of glance over, and I'm thinking I'm gonna race over there and get that one. Then I see a guy scamper up from the seat and dive in, and I was like, oh, dang it! So I'm just standing there, and I'm like just praying, and and finally like in the I don't know what was the other guy that went in front of me, but like about 10 minutes later, the door opens up, and the one that's been used this entire time. And this little old lady, I'm guessing 80 years old, like gets out and she kind of smiles nicely to me and wanders back. I'm like, all right, fine, she's old or whatever, just like had to take her time, And so I get in there, and it reeked for one. So I mean, of course, then I have to draw the connect the dots, and like the toilet seat cover that you put over to protect your skin from having to touch somebody else's toilet seat, she had left it there, and it was damp. And I was just sitting there and I was staring at it like. At this point, I had to go to the bathroom so bad, but I was just kind of like, is it my job now to move this and put it? I mean, when I get out, somebody else is going to come in and they're going to see this. And they're gonna think I'm the J-hole that didn't bother like taking it and getting rid of it. And I was just like, so I took like some toilet paper and like put it around my hand to like grab it and drop it in, and yeah. And then like then I went, I did my business, and then I went back to my seat, and then I saw like about 20 minutes later, the poor attendant that helped me. Like going to the bathroom that had exploded with the wine, went back in there and proceeded to like clean. He had like some like little tiny mop thing, and he was going in there, and I was like, oh, you poor man. But he was going in there to disinfect the one out of the 4 lavatories, if you will. So yeah, that was my. I don't have Brenner travel, but I definitely had my moment or whatever.
I've always said if I ever get on a plane with Jason Brenner, I'm just getting off. You can keep my ticket money. I don't care. I'll buy a new ticket.
Yeah. No, I mean it was just definitely but like I said, you're in the air for half a day, and it definitely does feel like it at some point, but. The food sucks. It is horrible. It is just flat out horrible. When they bring out the meal, so to speak, it is a bad TV dinner, and that's like the best compliment I can give it. And I would just much rather. Oh, and so there's 2 things I like about flying on a plane, and the 2 things are, for whatever reason, the little bag of peanuts. Is just I don't know what they put in those peanuts, but it's just salted peanuts, right? It's nothing special. But for whatever reason on a plane, they just taste really good. And I really like the Coke. The Coke with like the big giant chunks of ice. And I always ask because they're not going to say no, but I always ask the nice waitress. I say, could you fill the glass full of ice and leave the entire can of soda? I always ask very nicely. I said, and they always will, But I mean, they will not tell you no. There's no way they'll say no. But I love the ice that they have, the circular one with the hole in the middle. For whatever reason, I like that ice, and I like my little bag of peanuts. Pretzels are okay; they're not bad, but the bag of peanuts is the way to go. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, all I can think about, I'm kind of hungry, and all I can think about is like, I want my can of Coke. And I want to watch Hoosiers, watch a classic Gene Hackman movie, and I want to have my little bag of peanuts, and maybe I can sweet talk the flight attendant to give me 2, and usually they will. I say, can I have an extra bag? Yeah, sure, here you go. So you have your little, that'll be my snack, and that'll be a fun little movie to watch. I'll doze off. And so I'm sitting there and I'm waiting patiently, and all of a sudden the announcer comes over, the attendant comes over, and it's like, thank you for flying Delta, blah, 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 blah. Due to one of our passengers alerting us to the fact that they have a severe peanut allergy, no peanuts will be served today. And I was just like, the one thing! Just like, one person had to ruin. I was like, could we just like sequester them to like a lavatory for the rest of the evening? I mean, I was just like, why? Why does one person get to say nobody gets any peanuts? Because they might die if they touch it?
Yeah.
Fine.
Fuck 'em.
So selfish.
I know.
Selfish
Put 'em in a Tyvek
bastards.
suit.
Take a tramp steamer home. You know, there. You don't have to worry about getting any of your precious. I don't know. That aggravated me. And too, like, I know I should be more understanding.
Why aren't you, Lance?
I don't know.
Goddamn Lance.
Can I have their gluten?
I am WDYPTW podcast thing. I will not be at Geekway, unfortunately. Hey, WDYPTW, I'll be on your podcast thing if you want to have me on.
That's Brandon.
Well, fine, but WDYPTW. I want to call him that instead.
What did you play this week? Podcast thing.
Yeah, no, WDYPTW podcast thing.
What do you like, Michael Jackson?
What the fuck?
What, like,
Like
what?
TYT?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, Brandon, send me an email. Lance@playtmg.com.
Greg's allergic to no legroom on planes.
I got exit row flying out there. That was kind of nice, being able to stretch my legs out.
Tell you got to fly Emirates.
Well, I didn't really have the option.
You
know.
get actual food. You get like short ribs.
Actual short ribs. One, enjoy your rib.
No, they're actually you get short ribs. Actual food. They have actual food. It's amazing. They have
Yeah, I should say-
showers.
I'm gonna say this right now, and even though it's totally stoogey of me. If you're listening to this and you run a podcast, send me an email. There you go. I'll be on. Plus we can promote it to the TMG giant email list that they have. So there you go.
I won't see it.
You're not big enough, Anthony.
I've asked him repeatedly to be on the show, and he keeps. Hey,
Where's his review copy?
I will say repeatedly. I will say.
Doesn't Dan King have a podcast?
Dan King has a podcast, sort of.
I will say repeatedly. One of the nicest things, and I'll tell the story again, even though both Barry and some of and our tens of followers have probably heard it before. One of the nicest things anybody ever said to me was when I ended up wandering away with Patrick Nickel at Gen Con like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and we wandered into whatever hotel that was you were at, Anthony, and
J.W. Marriott.
there you go, J.W. Marriott, and they're having live podcasts, and Patrick went over and talked to you for a little bit, and I didn't know you from Adam. I just thought you were some dude, and Kabuki Kid, I'll get to your question here in just a little bit. And he waved me down, and he said, "Hey," and you said, "Would you do the podcast thing?" And I said, "I'd be happy to." And I, like I said, didn't know you from anybody, and you flat out said. And at this moment, and I've listened to it again after at this moment, the cardboard jungle has achieved a sense of I forget what you said. Basically, you gave it a sense of legitimacy due to the fact that I was going to be on the show, and I thought that was an extremely kind thing for you to say. And
if I only knew what I know now.
Really?
So it was very nice of you. And by the way. Gateway Gamer. I know you have a podcast, so still waiting. You should have me on too. So
I had you on once.
I had him on once too.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing is I can be on more than once on a podcast. It can happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, when do you want to come on?
I told you why.
Tuesday. When? Mondays and Tuesdays are bad for me.
Barry, remember the time he invited you on his podcast?
Yeah.
I don't have a podcast. This is my
You
podcast.
did.
You co-host my podcast, and that was Joel's podcast that I was along for the ride on. So I mean, so whatever. I don't know, man. Let's maybe we can record something tomorrow night.
Kabuki Kid, you should start a podcast and have Lance on.
Yeah, there you go, Kabuki Kid. Start up a podcast. Orleans Invasion. At this point, I wish I had a hard answer for you with that. It is it's something that I know they're looking into. I shouldn't say they. I guess we, but I don't. I'm not part of that world, the licensing world, as far as that goes. I know that they definitely want to do it. I think there are questions as far as the difference between how the tiles are going to look in the deluxe edition, which a lot of people own, of Orleans, whatever you want to call it. So there is a, I'm not going to say fear, but there is a concern. Yeah, there's a concern about the process that they'd have to do, like, you know, that whole how do I even put it? You know, it's just like what are the logistics of getting to the point of being able to have it, you know, done, you know, like and be able to make sure that that we can have a product that will be compatible with the deluxe edition of Orleans, which is an amazing deluxe edition. I mean, and sadly you just can't get a hold of that. Funny story about that. Like one of the few copies left in the wild, I was able to give it away at Con of the North this past year as a that was last giveaway during the open board game thing. And,
I've got my hand on it right now.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, you'll agree. I mean, they went. TMG went over the top on how amazing that looks, and you can't get it again. They're not going to do it again.
Not only is it so good, I actually have like the regular stuff that came with it still sitting here, like unpunched in case I need it for something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all the wooden bits on it are just flat out. And the thing is that TMG is going to do that again. I can't really say for what, but there's other games that are coming out later that they're going to do Kickstarters for, that are going to be like have that over the top Kickstarter exclusive edition that that, you know, people are going to like wish that they had backed after the fact. You know, just as far as how awesome it's going to look. So I don't know. It's one of those things where if they can figure out how to incorporate the expansion in a way that you won't have an issue. I mean, because the problem with Orleans, as you know, is you're digging in the bag, and you need to make sure that there's no discrepancy with that, you know, and because it can actually change gameplay. So they want to do it. I know that. They're eager to do it. I mean, it's money, right? I mean, if they were able to add it, it would be something that they could sell copies and they could, you know, sell games. And so it is actively being looked into. And if I had a definitive, like, it's going to happen at this day at this time, I would be the first person to tell you. But unfortunately, and if I couldn't say anything about it, I would say unfortunately I can't talk about it. But, you know, it's just that's what I know as far as that goes. So
I wonder how much that comes up. Like, a game comes out a deluxe version and then like an expansion. Like, you know, like Small World has a deluxe version, but I don't think they worried about an expansion for that because the original game has 100 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
why don't they just make 2 expansions?
Well, because the thing is, this is with anything, because there are lots of games that even don't get deluxe, where they change the printer.
Yeah.
Because maybe the printer went out of business between the two, and the cards are a little bit different. So back in the day, I'm going to tell you a story about being old. Lance may remember this. So back in the day, when you wanted to like paint like your living room, and you'd pick out your paint, and one of the things you had to do if you needed more than one can is you had to match batch numbers.
Right.
So you could get 2 cans of the same paint that were from 2 separate batch numbers, and the color could be slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to go and make sure, you'd have to sit there. I remember going to the store with my mother every time she wanted to paint the apartment, and sitting there and going, All right, this one is 21783. What's that one? 218784. No, we don't want that one. Well, maybe if there's another one of those, and that's what you'd have to do. So when you get that, like, you say, okay, I'm going to buy, we need red ink. But if the place you get your red ink goes out of business and you have to buy from a new place, or you find a better deal on red ink somewhere else, that red may be slightly different than the red that you previously used. And then the same thing with the ability to cut things, because I have games that are the same size, but they're slightly different. You'll never notice it, but they're slightly different because it's the way the box was cut or the thickness of the cardboard in the box made it off just by a little bit. And like Lance was saying, like something like Orleans where you're digging in the bag, those discs that get made for the new one have to be the exact same size, thickness, and everything as the other ones.
Right.
And you're going to run into that problem. It's the same thing as people like, about sleeving cards and everything. The problem with you need the sleeve cards when you open the box, not after cards start getting worn, because at some point, if an expansion comes out, your expansion obviously is going to look newer, and even if you have sleeves on it, you can still tell which cards are from which sets, just based on how worn they are from before you sleeve them. So yeah, it's not easy when you are making expansions regularly just to get them to match up perfectly.
Yeah, I thought he said there was something like a tile difference.
Yeah.
The only Orleans I played was the deluxe version.
I mean, I don't even remember what it was, but there are places. I used to work when I was a kid. I worked at Xerox, and they used to, with the day before Kinko's and home computers and everything. So if you needed books made for presentations, you had them done at Xerox. You took them to their local repro center. But we had people who literally, there was one company they had that was going to constantly be printing this same thing over and over again every so many months. And we used to actually pick out ink and keep it stored for them. So when they printed the next batch, it exactly matched the one before.
Right.
And that's expensive to do, so it's not that easy. And you'll play games on your shelf that look, the cards are slightly longer, a little bit wider, and so that's, anytime you're doing that, especially now, you made something that's extra special, to go and find it again, or to get it done the exact same way is not necessarily going to be that easy, or that same price.
You should get Michael to make his own manufacturing plant out there in Utah or wherever he is now.
I don't know. It's weird being on the other side of things. Like, I mean, I have access to, the TMG stuff. I have access to where everything's at as far as in the production channels and things like that. I mean, obviously, I can't discuss those things just because it's not public knowledge. But being on the weird business end of it and kind of seeing how everything moves now is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. So I don't know. It's it's a great question, Kabuki Kid. I mean, I can say for certain that yes, they're going to publish the expansion. It's just a matter of. I mean, I shouldn't say yes, never say never, right? Or don't ever say 100% sure, because things can happen and things can get followed up. But it's
in
just
a perfect world.
Yes, in a perfect world, that will happen, and because of the fact, obviously, that TMG owns the rights to Orleans, for the production and distribution in North America or whatever, it'll, it's just. I've played the Invasion expansion and with my actual DLP games version of Orleans, and it's great. I mean, it's awesome. I enjoy Orleans very much, but yeah, there you go. I don't know. It's I wish I could discuss more openly about things.
What happened to Aldi tonight?
What?
What happened to Aldi tonight?
I don't know. I can send him another invite.
Well,
But
don't invite him again. I'm going to bed.
It's
It's
quarter to
Yeah.
2.
I was gonna say we're getting close to that time. I gotta get up and go to work for the man tomorrow. So you know how it is.
No, I don't.
Well, I guess Barry, you don't know how that is.
No, it's been.
How's the career search going, buddy?
It's not. It's the only 2 skills I have. I can't do. So it's not.
All right. Well, sorry to make you depressed.
Thanks, Lance, you cocksucker.
Jeez.
After I get the back straightened out, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do.
Do you need to have surgery or?
Yes, I don't. The back and probably my hands too.
No. Are you getting them lengthened or what are you doing?
No, I got the carpal tunnel. So. Yeah.
So what's wrong with your back? Which disc is it that's all degenerated or whatever?
The S1 and L4 are destroyed, basically. The L4 is almost bone on bone. The 2 above and below are degenerating. There's stenosis, sciatica, compression fractures, arthritis.
And how did all this happen again? Was it the porn career or?
Yes, manual labor for 20 years. Yeah.
All right. And
And he's younger than both of us.
yeah,
Yes.
I know. So what are they gonna do? Like just go in and rip stuff up or what?
They're talking about fusion the vertebrae and all that. I don't know. I put off this for a while because after they do whatever they do, I won't be able to lift anything over 20 pounds, basically.
How are you gonna go to the bathroom?
I don't know. It would be nice to get off the painkiller so I could go to the bathroom, but it's another story.
Womp womp.
It's not, it's not good. It's not the back that bothers me most of the time. It's my right leg, it gives out on me. To the touch, it feels like sandpaper is being rubbed against it all the time. The back hurts, and usually when it's like precipitation out, raining, snowing, whatever. But I dealt with that forever. It's the leg giving out on me.
Yeah.
Hence the cane, so I don't fall on my ass and my face all the time.
Oh, but that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I wouldn't laugh at that.
I'd laugh after. I might be like, "Holy crud, what happened?" And then I'd race over and tell Travis to go make fun of you.
Lance will be texting me. Barry fell down again.
Yeah, but I know I need surgery for a while. I've been putting it off.
Well, then get it done, buddy.
It's,
You got one life. You might as well make it as comfortable as possible.
They have the technology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they can
that's-
rebuild you.
That's what it is. When this first happened, like I was in the construction industry before I worked on trains, and I know many people who needed something done to their back, and none of them came out right after that. It was 10, 15, 20 years ago, but still, yeah. I know they advanced more since then.
You'll just have like a harder time getting through airport security. That's all.
Yeah, so yeah.
My sister had scoliosis, and she spent when she got diagnosed with it, we went to Mayo Clinic, and let me tell you, as a kid, when you don't really understand that your sister has like this issue or whatever, and you just understand that you're just like stuck at this clinic for hours on end, just bored out of your mind. You end up saying things that your mother beats you for, because you're just like, can we go? Why is my sister always sick all the time? Why do I have to be here? Why drag me out to the car by my hair and beat me with her shoe for half an hour? But that's just memories. But anyway, I'm kidding. My mother never did that. But But the threat of it, just the look of intense evil from my mom was enough to scare me into the idea that it could possibly happen. She had to have these electrodes on her back every night that would stimulate the muscles on her back to basically prevent the spine from bending, and she had to do that every night until she stopped growing. and then she went in, and then they back surgery, and they opened up her back and fused 2 metal rods along either side of her spine, and basically so it would never bend. And so she has to carry a card. And this is back when like the stuff that they had, it wasn't. This was what, 1994, 93? I don't know. I mean, it was technology obviously has increased a lot, but she has a card in her purse or wallet or whatever that and it doesn't always, but every once in a while she'll go through especially an old school metal detector. Like every once in a while they'll tell you to go through a metal detector instead of that thing where you put your hands up like this and it revolves around you. Then she'll set it off, and they'll be like, well, this is my thing that's in my back, and so she has to have that. So one of those crazy things. But ultimately, she got it so her back wouldn't bend, and you need it so you can like get around, man, and be mobile and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
So get it done.
I'm in the process of that. It's
be an X-Men, maybe.
There you go.
It's the doctors down here in Delaware they moved it like molasses. It's unreal. And then there's a whole issue with the painkillers now. The DEA or FDA, one of them is cracking down on that. It's.
Well, I mean that's a good thing though. They don't want people, killing themselves with painkillers. Like I don't know, Prince. But anyway.
No, if you take them responsibly, right? With Prince, I think something else happened there, but they're more worried about people selling them. Yeah. But I've been going through that. It's like they want me to do physical therapy and these injection shots, and I've been through that. They don't work anymore, the injection shots or anything. So. But it's going through the process of getting new doctors and new specialists, new MRIs and all that. And that's what I've been going through the last few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, just figure out what you need to get it done. I want to see you at Gen Con one year, buddy. You keep saying it's too many people. Well, if you're actually mobile, it isn't going to be that many people.
It's not the mobility. It's just too many people. I don't want to deal with that many people. I don't want to see that many ass cracks.
Yeah, it's not that bad, actually. Gen Con's fun, right, Anthony?
I love Gen Con.
Yeah, Gen Con's fun.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, it's a spectacle, and it's I don't know. It's I kind of told myself I wasn't going to go this year, but I mean, obviously now I probably will have to. But even if I wasn't going to have to, it was still one of those things where I was like, yeah, I'll go. It was just kind of like, even though I was like considering not doing it, it's just there's too much that happens. It's like you run into all your old friends, you run into all your buddies, you see all the publishers and the new publishers and have good conversations. You get to see drunken Jim Felly. I had no idea he liked the spirits as much as he does. But you know what? God bless him. Good for him. So
yeah, I don't know. Like it's just mainly the people. Like I said, it's too crowded. It's expensive with the hotels and all that.
Hey, and you also need to go get your R2D2 arm fixed too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow. This happened after the stores and all were closed. I gotta see. It's gotta be a circuit board issue on it.
So,
but even like BGG Con, that beat me up. It took me 3 or 4 days to recover from that. Just the body, physically. Yeah. So we'll see.
Lance, are you going to Dice Terror, Lance?
I am not. It's I actually would have gone this year, because TMG has a presence and I could have headed out there, but the first ever Mikester family reunion happens right around like the exact same time. So I am going to a lake resort and I'm going to hang out with the 24 or so Mikesters that are still alive and with us in one place. in one moment, except for my uncle and his wife and their kids. They're not coming because they're a bunch of jerks, and nobody knows why.
They're going to the Dice Tower convention.
Maybe.
Yes.
No, there's some weird bad blood between him and my dad that nobody seems to know or understand or have any idea. So it's what do you do, right?
Did it start after you were born?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, it's your fault.
Yeah, probably. No. I
Definitely
mean, I don't know.
not.
I mean, not to air a bunch of dirty laundry, but like the last time he ever came to town was when my grandma died, when his mom died. That was the last time, and that was like my grandmother died, like 10 days after my daughter was born, and she was still like in the NICU, and would be for the next like 2.5 months, and everybody that was in town, that was family, that came to town, asked to come and see, like, basically the youngest Mikester in the world, that nobody knew whether or not she'd live or die, and they went up to, except for my uncle and his aunt and his kids. It was just like they showed up because there was basically going to be this cat. They showed up, basically there was going to be a will that was going to be read, and then they left town, which was weird because he said I don't want any of the money, I don't want anything. He just basically like disowned the family and then left, and nobody to this day understands. And I've asked my dad many times. I asked my dad when he's been drunk if he knows what the deal is, and he every single time he goes, I have no idea. He sends him a birthday card. He sends him a card every holiday. Sends him a birthday card, and sends all of his kids birthday cards and a $20 bill, and has for like the last 15 years or whatever, and just doesn't get a single card or anything back in return from his younger brother. So it's to the point where my brother, I shouldn't say this, but my brother called me up one night because they basically the list of everybody that was going to be at the Mikester family reunion was there, and very very loudly speaking that like my uncle and his wife and his kids weren't going to be there, and the thing is weird is that when they were in town, they were super friendly. They were like, "Hey, how's it going?" And like my like his oldest daughter was getting married, and she was actually getting married like close to town where I live, and they're like, "Oh, we'll make sure we get you an invite. We'd love to have you," and this, that, and everything. Nobody got an invite to any wedding. Nobody got anything. It was just like everybody was super nice and like great. And then it just vanished. My brother called me up one night, and I was actually sitting in my game room. I was working on a video, and he called me up, and he had a few, I could tell, and he was just like, yeah, he invented some new swear words that night. He's like, I'm gonna call him up right now. I'm gonna tell him what I think of him. It's just like, I really don't think Uncle Rick needs a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning from you right now. Talking my brother off a ledge. He was just so mad about it. But my sister is like really upset because she's the one who's put this whole reunion together, and like she just can't convince him. Like now he just doesn't even respond to any correspondence or anything that she attempts to talk to him about. So
as my Sicilian grandmother used to say, "Sparagnioma,"
which means what?
Which basically means like, "Out of hell with him." It's a nice way of saying like the hell with him, like, oh, whatever.
What is that? Is that Yiddish? What is that?
No, it's they speak this like weird dialect they're from San Fratello, so they speak San Frat, which is like this really weird. It's like this mix of Italian and Spanish.
San Frat?
They make words up. It's just the best word. So if they don't know how to, if there's no word for something, they just call it something. Like I remember my grandmother asking me to go to the bathroom and get her the shushaluni.
That was bathroom, the shushaluni?
No, she told me in San Frat to go in the bathroom. She said it in San Frat, and bring me the shushaluni.
Which is what?
Well, I didn't know what it was either, so I asked my mother. I said, "Ma, what does shushaluni mean?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Grandma told me to go in the bathroom and get her the shushaloni. She goes to my grandmother, Mama, what are you talking about? And she explains to her what she wants. And she goes, okay, she made up the word. She wants the blow dryer. Because there was no word in San Fran when she left for blow dryer. So she made up a word for it.
So what was the word for it to hell with him? What was that?
It's an expression. It's sparanyoma.
Spadayoma.
Sparanyoma, which basically just means it's the nice way of saying like the hell with him. It's like whatever. Forget about him.
Spadayoma.
Sparanyoma.
Spadanyoma.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. Nah, and the thing is, it's weird. Is like when I was a kid, I used to love my Uncle Rick. I thought he was so cool. He was just super nice and super funny, and I thought he was pretty cool. And now I'm just kind of like, oh well, And he's retired. It isn't like he has anything going on. I don't know. And it's just like something happened between him and my dad. I have no idea what did, but whatever. I mean, my older brother can be a complete and total DB, but he's still my older brother, and I'll still call him, once a week, and we'll talk sports and whatever, and he'll, trash on the rest of the family, and I know he trashes on me when I'm not talking to him. That's fine, he just, I love him. I'll never stop. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't see what anybody can do that's so horrible that you just write him off. But oh well, whatever. Shibata
Speaking of writing off, I'm writing off this show. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, it is 4 hours. So hey, thank you very much to everybody who took the time to be on and hang out and talk. This was good. I'm glad I got to talk about Japan a little bit. For those of you who listened the whole way through, or even part way through, or what have you, thank you very much for taking the time to do so. It's pretty awesome. Kabuki Kid's gonna steal the Shoshaluni.
I didn't make one Joe Wiggins reference the whole show.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Did you guys bury the hatchet?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you guys had come to an accord or something.
No, an accord. Yeah, like the UN called us to get us together.
Hey, wait. Kabuki Kid said that they wanted to go to Gen Con back in '83. How old are you, Kabuki Kid?
We should have Kabuki Kid on the show one week.
We should. For as often and for as prolific as they are as being a fan, I think it would be a hoot to have Kabuki Kid on some night. But
besides,
anyway,
we need a female on the show once in a while.
Well, you know what? I mean, Rihanna said that she'd be on the show more often, and then we see what happened there. So
yeah. Oh, 45. She's young.
Yeah, she's like, she and I are almost the same age. So.
Yeah, and I'm older, so.
There you go. All right, so yeah, everybody who took the time to listen to us and listen to us talk and what have you, thank you very much. I don't know why you do it, but we appreciate it very much. For those of you who will take a listen to this after the fact, we thank you and love you just as much as our loyal fans. Any parting ideas?
Including Chris Peach.
Including Chris Peach, who got what he needed out of me, and now abandoned us and isn't part of the show anymore. So
it's the way it is.
It is the way it is, but I don't know. Is there anything you want to...
Dan King got his review copy. He's not been on the show in a while.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Dan King was on once, wasn't he?
Twice, I think he came on.
Yeah.
Just did the pop in. Hey, I thought it was really cool that Marty took the time to be on here to let us know about the Godfather game.
Because I told him he had to come on to tell us about it when he got to play it.
Oh, really? Well, regardless, I appreciated that that he did something. We should have a fan appreciation episode. Maybe if Keith's not going to be around next week, that'd be perfect because then we'll have one less, and then we can have Paul and Kabuki Kid and somebody else. So if you guys want to be on, we'll go with that. We can have a fan appreciation week.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Hey, thanks everybody. Appreciate it very much. Be good to one another. Take care. And anybody else got anything they want to plug or anything like that?
No.
Nope.
Go listen to the Cardboard Jungle. I'm gonna be on an episode here sometime in the future. That'll be an excellent episode, I'm sure.
It
And
will be.
I'm gonna be on the Gateway Gamer here pretty soon too. So you should go listen to that podcast as well.
If you're one of the 7% of the people out there who want to listen to podcasts,
Absolutely. All right. Good night, everybody.
good night.
So,